Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. This is Comics News Today for the 13th of June. Whew, you're right. Half the year is gone, Grimlock. And my birthday's a week away. It's
Nice.
nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, I get to I have my birthdays on the first full day of summer.
Nice.
No, because I hate summer.
Well, then you're really headed where I'm at today, because today was 100 degrees.
Oh yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be 100 degrees.
Well, when I was a kid, I did move around a lot because my dad's in the military. And I have been in the South, and my dad is from Alabama, and we stayed there for a while
Ooh.
too. But so I've experienced the South. I think there you would actually see hotter temperature. I mean, it would get the degrees would be hotter, but here the humidity is just worse, dude. It's like walking in a sauna. It's insane here when the summer kicks on. But I hate the summer. I'm a winter person, 100%. I'm built for that shit, man. I'll sleep naked in the snow.
I like the winter.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
good.
it gets dark. It gets dark early, and all the knuckleheads stay home because it's too cold.
This is fair. This is fair. I understand exactly what you mean, by the way. I used to love it, because, off and on, I was in New York, quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, nearly half my childhood, I'd say. But when you get snow in the city, that thing just shuts down, dude.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I was born in Rhode Island, right? And I lived
Yeah.
there quite a bit as well. But in Rhode Island, you can get literally, snow up to the freaking roof, and people are just
Oh
milling
yeah.
around going about the normal day. But in New York, they paralyzed by snow, dude.
When I was a kid, you had to. It would usually take a good foot of snow for them to stop anything.
Yeah, well,
If it
I
wasn't a
mean,
foot, you still had to go to school. Couldn't get no off.
Oh,
yeah, but you know what I
That's a
mean, though.
ton
If
of
you get some
people.
good snow in New York, it just paralyzes that place, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I've literally been in 10 foot of snow, right? And just
Oh,
going
yeah.
about your day. So, anyway, hey, Thunder, what's up?
yo, I just got here.
I know, I
We
saw
were
that.
out. No, I mean, I literally just walked in my house and sat down. We were out looking at houses.
You gonna buy a
Ah,
house?
I'll go
Yeah,
to
we're
Hunt.
thinking about it. We're thinking about it. We're probably going to, but we're still looking. We're trying to get out of this city because I live in a technically medium-sized metropolitan area, and I want to get out of it because it's a shithole.
Oh, I
And
see.
so we're trying to get out, like, because there's plenty. Where I live, in Ohio, there are just a ridiculous amount of small cities in like towns that are basically cities technically, but they're like right on the edge. Just every 20 miles or so, you're going to run into a cluster of them, right? So we're trying to either get into one of them or just out in the actual country, where
Sure.
one of the houses we looked at just now was country road, nobody around it for at least a half mile every direction.
Nice.
The land was they the land we would have bought. Some of it is rented to a farmer because he uses it and stuff like that kind of rural. But the house was really old and would have needed a lot of stuff.
Oh,
So we were
sure.
like,
Well,
probably not.
I got a couple dozen. Would you like one?
Yeah, I would. You prick. Must be nice to be rich.
Well, they're all old and in the process of tearing everything down. I'm actually recycling wood because I have a project in mind. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass. It normally would cost me 50 grand for each house to tear down, dude. It's ridiculous.
You,
I found a
Wow.
you,
much cheaper way of dealing with it. But
Thundaro, you heard him. He's tearing them down and keeping the resources like a true RTS player.
damn right, you damn right. Well, they came with the
So
land
Chester, so
purchase.
when the
So
wife and I do decide to move to Japan,
yeah,
we just need to ask you for a house. I see what you're saying to me. It's fine.
I literally got a couple of dozen empty ones right here. I do. Yeah.
Just sitting.
Just sitting. They're all
Interesting.
marked, of course, but they just came with land because there wasn't people really in them. There's a few people. Well, actually, no, I do believe I let my wife manage that because I'm busy doing other stuff. But I do think that some of them have people in them. For all I maybe a bunch of them got people in them. I do see people moving around. So there are people. Maybe she's renting them.
Interesting. Could be.
That's what I would do, I suppose. But I just let her handle it. So, but I don't know why. But they just kind of because I just bought the land and they were just on it. Now the problem is that I know that if you occupy it, I have to pay taxes, extra taxes for not just the land but also occupation. Yeah, so I'm not really sure, but yeah, but the wife, she deals with that. I let her deal with that. So that's her little baby. That's her project. So
we're not even positive we are going to move. We do want to. There's a few things stopping it. It's not even really money because we've got money saved up, stashed away, basically, and then our house will probably get close to at least 50% more than what we paid for it. Because when we bought it, the market it was right before the market hit this insane burst in the last 4 or 5 years. We bought it about 8 years ago, and you could get really good deals on houses. So if we could flip this for a chunk like that, that'd be awesome. So we're not sure, and obviously we're very. I mean, they say we're teetering, but let's be honest, we're in a recession, and it's about to hit. We're already in super inflation. It's not quite to hyperinflation yet in America. Like we were driving out in the country and stuff, and the gas station out there. Hang on one second.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no. As far as that goes, I mean, he says you guys are in a recession. Shit, I think you're on the edge of a depression, dude. Yeah. I really do. And because you got to understand the you guys in some of the European countries, you guys are having this hyperinflation thing going on like crazy, and there's some third world countries that are always on the edge of starvation anyway that are having trouble because of the war. But the other first world countries, we're hardly feeling the pressure at all, dude.
Well, from what I understand, I don't live there, but from what I've seen on the interwebs, where you live they'll probably sort it out because Japan's been doing this balancing act for a long time now.
Yes, they have.
But they're teetering, right? Like they're real close to where they're in trouble. I don't remember what the word the guy used, but we'll see what happens.
He's
but
not right.
The problem is
close to teetering, dude. Not at all.
The problem is Americans are stupid, and you have a bunch of Americans who will literally say things like Biden or the president doesn't affect the economy, or our president has no power over the economies of other countries or the pricing in other countries, and that's just retarded. Like if you say that unironically, you're a retard. I don't even want to hear you ever talk economic policy. You have no idea what you're talking about. Whatever happens in America affects the whole world, and
it does.
Like you can't sit here and tell me that a war in Ukraine is affecting the cost of everything in America, and then somehow the pricing in America isn't affecting everything else in the world. That just doesn't make any sense.
That's my point, though. It's not. And therefore, it's something very, very, very fishy's going on, or as the young folks like to say, sus.
Well, it's not yet. If it keeps happening and the reserve currency of the world keeps... Because what's happening, inflation, what that means is the currency is losing its value. That's all that means. Yeah. We can fluff it up with a bunch of jargon and everything. It literally means the dollar is crashing.
Right.
Whenever there's big inflationary spikes, is a mini crash of the dollar. That's what's happening.
Well, and China's chomping at that bit, dude. They want to be the world currency. And here's the thing: if somehow China can convince the majority of countries to switch over to them, you would see one of the worst recorded economic crashes in world history, dude, in America.
Yeah.
Because the only thing is keeping up at all is the fact that America's dollar is the world currency.
Right. I think The biggest mistake that our financial system ever made, whoever made the decision, doesn't really matter who. When we tied our wealth, our currency, the world's reserve currency, to petroleum, that was pretty much the dumbest economic decision in the history of the world. Yeah, it created a huge boom period for about 30, 40 years, roughly, give or take, with varying success in the middle. But the problem is we don't control the petroleum market. So now our dollar is tied to oil directly with the petrodollar. Everybody's supposed to trade in American dollars for oil. Not everybody does, but by and large everybody does, right? The big guys do, typically, unless they're trading amongst themselves. That's a terrible situation to put yourself in. And we've been feeling that crunch, and one of the reasons why we're having this huge inflationary period of costs and everything is the fact that we have our dollar tied to a commodity we do not control. A commodity that is allegedly not wholly finite, meaning there's a lot of it out there. Whereas gold, the gold is the gold we have, right? That's why we had it tied to gold. We might find more gold.
Okay.
Well, we might find more gold, but there's not gonna just be a ton more gold what keeps happening with oil, right? Because they kept telling us, they've told us for 100 years that oil is a fossil fuel. It's fossil. No, it isn't. That's not true. That's not what it is. That was a lie.
No, that's a complete lie, and that was done by the Rockefellers.
Yes.
But yeah, no. The gold thing, just to let you know, there's a photograph of a Rothschild vault that is one of 10. Now, we don't know how big or small the other 9 are, but I've seen the picture of one, and in there is equal or maybe slightly more gold than supposedly we have in the entire planet in one of their vaults. So
I don't doubt it.
I don't want to hear anything about the limitation of gold, because
well, no, I'm not saying gold's limited. What I'm saying is it's actually scarce compared to oil, especially.
Yeah.
Oil isn't scarce. This idea that we're near running out, that's ridiculous. We're nowhere near running out of oil. We'll probably never run out of oil, actually. It seems like oil is a renewable resource. It just takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, the planet makes it. It seems it's something the planet produces. But we could outpace the production of it, though. That's possible. I don't know. We are very, very very big of ourselves and how much we control this planet, actually. And how
we don't.
Little we really are. Roger says, naked in the snow. That's a picture I don't need. Well, I'm telling you what, Roger. If you're out in a blizzard, I'm going to give you a snowman hint here. Bury yourself in the snow. And if you're with someone else, get naked, cuddle up next to them, and bury yourself in the snow. Because that's how you survive that shit, dude. Because in the snow, the temperature is equal. It is perfectly 32 degrees. Above it might be negative 50.
Right.
So burying
and
yourself
it's very
in
insulatory.
The snow naked is a potential survival technique, Roger.
And it's a very insulatory substance, snow. It doesn't let a lot of air through.
No.
That's how igloos work, right?
That's right.
Basic idea is that's how they work. It's pretty interesting because I know I've watched some documentaries on it, and people have done that. That's how they survive in avalanches and things. They just stay buried and dig themselves an air hole or something so they don't suffocate, and they're fine for a while as long as they don't stay there too long.
Well, they taught us that in the Boy Scouts. I went to Boy Scouts up in some mega winter land, so maybe a normal Boy Scout doesn't get that, but Boy Scouts, it's amazing how often Boy Scouts comes up.
It's interesting.
It really is, and I don't know why every damn boy is not a Boy Scout. It's incredibly informative. It's also making you a man. It's such a positive thing, and even though it is controlled by technically the Christian Church, I guess, they never push religion whatsoever.
Oh, it's not anymore. It's gone, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure they shut Boy Scouts down.
The Boy Scouts has been ruined because anybody can be in the Boy Scout except actual boys.
Oh, well, okay, fine. We'll make a new one.
Some parents of some girls sued so that their girl could be a Boy Scout. And they let the girls in, and then there was a bunch of cases that came out, like the actual Boy Scouts of America, the actual organization. bunch of cases came out of basically they were having sex with the boys and the girls,
Of course they
the
were.
people.
Of course they were. And Elrod, I
So
would never
yeah,
groom little Roger because I'm into wrinkly old crotchety men. So what you doing tomorrow?
yeah.
I'm sorry, nah, yeah, I have no idea what's going on in Boy Scouts. Then again, I don't really know what's going on in America at all because you guys keep telling me stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I don't believe you because it's no way.
Don't ever believe me.
Yeah,
Never believe anybody.
I mean, all this nonsense in America that you're telling me is going on, this can't be. That's not America. America takes baseball bats to shits, dude. That's what we do.
America died on 9/11. That was it. It killed it. It was a shot right to the heart. We never recovered.
Wow.
Once I watched the majority of Americans cheer on a literal totalitarian security state taking over the country, not only did they cheer for it, they voted for it twice.
Hmm.
That was it. That's whatever America was before 9/11. It's not the same anymore. It died on 9/11. That killed it. That was the kill shot.
That's too bad. All right. Yeah, and in all honestly, we've joked about it here on Tinfoil Hat, but I'm kind of curious. Do you think there are any actual validity to any of the conspiracies, the multiple conspiracies surrounding 9/11? You think there's anything to that at all? I mean,
Which
I know some of them are
any of them?
pretty extreme, but I mean, any of them, yeah.
I wouldn't say the ones where there was no planes, the laser beam ones.
Oh wow, I
I'd
didn't
say
hear that one. Oh,
yeah. There's people who think that they used an energy weapon from the sky
no.
to take those buildings down. Uh, no, that's no. If we have that technology, holy shit! But no, I don't think that's what it was at all. But no, the ones that are much more plausible, most of like Alex Jones, for example, the ones he's talked about that are much more plausible, meaning it was an inside job. It was probably done exactly how they said it was, but they knew it was going to happen, and they could have stopped it. And if at the very least, they just didn't stop it from happening.
Right.
Whether or not there were explosives in the building and thermite stuff and this grand planned conspiracy that they warned us about with predictive programming, really, honestly, none of that even matters. What because all you really need is did they know and did they do nothing about it?
Right.
You don't even need anything more than that. That should be enough to hang them.
Culpability.
Period.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
And that is true. But because the 9/11 report was a bit damning. What they released of it anyway. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But it is an interesting one. There are no more conspiracy theories. It's all fact. Thank you, Roger. Very good.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, we are going to get into our show here momentarily, but before we do, I did want.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I will say this real quick before you say that. The one that they'll never convince me is that a plane hit the Pentagon. I don't give a shit. They would have to have. There's no way. There's no amount of evidence they could show me because I wouldn't believe them after this amount of time, especially. There's no way that was a plane. That was a missile.
It's clear that
that was a missile.
That one was certainly not. But the ones hitting the World Trade Center, we actually have video. Now but I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into that. But it's it is a weird one. But I did before I get into it, since today is comic books a day. I did want to ask a question though. Because I already kind of gave a spoiler yesterday. I'm going to talk about Sergeant Rock a little bit today. Unfortunately, when I was doing my research last night after I got back home from work, I noticed that Marvelous Videos, I think it's the name of the channel, they had actually put up like a day or like 2 or 3 days ago a Sergeant Rock or homage. So that's a bit unfortunate. So I went a little lighter than I might normally have. However, one of the things that they did with Sergeant Rock later, right? Because even when I was in the 80s, you could get a Sergeant Rock book. They had they would put him with the Monster Commandos, or I can't remember what those things are, but They're
Howling
basically
Commander?
no, that's Captain America's crew. No, I'm talking about a werewolf, a vampire, Frankenstein. It's like a
Oh,
monster squad, but it wasn't called that. It was something Commandos. Someone will help me in the chat, but they put him with them several, and there was actually this short, somewhat short, Sergeant Rock showcase movie they put out that is absolutely
mm,
excellent. If you haven't seen it, go check that out. But in that, it has a vampire, which is Varney, of course, for Marvel or DC Comics. I think it's DC, right? Yeah, definitely DC. And they had a Frankenstein guy, and they had, of course, a werewolf. But my question is, what is your favorite horror slash monster comic book or comic book character? Grimlock.
well, we've talked about him numerous times, so you should not be shocked that it is Morbius.
Mhm.
Um, I also have a soft spot for Swamp Thing and Man Thing. Um, of course, Blade. You almost can't talk about that without Blade.
That's true.
I'm
Or
really
Moon Knight.
disappointed that, yeah. And Dracula has been sadly abandoned in the Marvel Universe.
Well, several times. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. How about you, Thundero?
Um, I don't really have one. I'll be honest with you. You mean like a monster character or just like a horror
Or
genre
either
character?
or. Either or. Yeah.
I would say mine's probably the most generic answer, but probably the Hulk. I
Oh.
always liked Hulk. I like Hulk.
Oh.
And he is definitely a monster, especially early Hulk. I like the dichotomy of it. I like the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I mean, that's what it is. It's a ripoff. But it works. He did his own thing with it, and I think it works very well. I think Bruce Banner is a very underserved character, especially in the MCU. God, Mark Ruffalo. Jeez.
Please,
Yeah,
Ed Norton, come back.
Hulk. Oh, please. I don't care if you're a diva, Ed. I don't have to deal with it. I just want to watch
we
the
don't
movies.
have to deal with you. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, Dave, thank you. Creature Commandos, that's right.
Yeah.
We'll see that animated. That was really good. They did a good job. Ghost Rider says Dave, that's a good one. Me personally, I sticking with the mainstream comic books, and Grimlock already said it. I'm going to have to go with Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. It was really good, dude, and it was very scary. It was a
I am so
throwback.
glad they have been. I'm so glad they have reprinted those omnibuses because now the price of those have gone down.
Yeah, that's
And I
actually
can
what I
finally
should
get 'em.
get because I think that's some of his best work, dude.
Yeah.
His Swamp Thing. It's really, really good, and it's an homage back to the old horror comic books. And before the Comics Code Authority came in, there was some killer horror comic books back in the day, dude. I know everyone likes
Yeah.
to talk about Tales from the Crypt and all these things that came out later
Oh yeah. Tales from
in
the Crypt
in
was
the 80s and 90s, right? But that old stuff, man, those dudes were legit, dude, man.
Well, Tales from the Crypt started way before that. I know a lot of people, have the attachment to the '90s series because
No,
that's
I'm
where,
talking about like 40s, dude. 30s, 50s.
and the movie from the '70s. If people have not seen that, they should see that.
Sure, it's B galore, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Roger says classic Vampirella. Oh, fair enough. But that's
Oh
more
yeah.
eye candy than it is actually interesting. Can anyone tell me what the backstory of Vampirella is? Anybody?
She's a space vampire.
Yeah, that's about all we know.
Space vampire. Oh,
I never got to read. I never got to
beautiful
read those original magazines. I've been looking for them, but when my money gets a little better, I'm going to try to invest in some of those.
Hey, there you go. There you go. No, that would be actually fun. And keeping with yesterday's theme, I think I would also have to give a nod to Frankenfurter, the transsexual from Transylvania, space Transylvania. He's important too.
Yeah.
Tim Curry for the win. No, nothing.
Oh yeah.
Fine.
no, Tim Curry definitely for the win. Yeah, you're just out of my wheelhouse. Monster stuff isn't really. It's not for me. It's
Well,
not my bag.
it just came to my mind because of the the connection to Sergeant Rock, and I'm not going to talk about it in my little presentation.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Sergeant Rock.
I
the
do
original
like
stuff.
I do like Ghost Rider though. I didn't think about him, but yeah, he's pretty awesome.
He is.
I think he's underserved as well.
Yeah,
to be
but
honest.
the more recent run they did with him was freaking beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times he's not done in a horrific way.
Well, so far, the current book is pretty good.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. That's what I meant. Yeah, it
And
is, and it's horror.
Yeah,
as
it really
should
is.
be. Yeah, it's really good.
It is pretty gory by Marvel standards. I'm almost surprised that Ben Percy was allowed to do that, but
I'm glad they let him.
I would say it's one of the better ones that are going on.
And there are some good stuff going on. I mean, we do knock on the things we don't like, but it's
Yeah,
not,
they
it's not
don't
all
they don't
bad.
promote it. It's I was
Well, it's Pride Month. Of course they don't.
Well, no, you've seen the movie Devil in a Blue Dress, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
With Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Well, you know the guy who wrote that story that the movie's based on. He's currently writing The Thing.
Nice. All right.
And I'm like, wait, why aren't they promoting that? They should be telling people that.
Well, those are for us oldies who pay attention no matter what they say. That's why. But of course, Devilish says we have to mention Evil Ernie and Lady Death. Of course, Lady Death came out of Evil Ernie's imagination, seemingly. But that's a good point. And Dave saw Vampirella at Comic Fest '93 in Philly. I saw Elvira once with Kane Hodder sitting at the same damn table. So beat that. In full costume, by the way. And I have to say, that lady, I don't know her. I can't remember her real name offhand. She's a very old woman. But
Cassandra.
Yeah, Cassandra. There it is. But I've seen things of her recently where she's doing this. She's just doing these like little YouTube shows, and of course, there's lots of makeup and stuff, and she knows how to present herself. But that is a hot ass grandma, dude. That is a badass grandma right there. But yeah, no, I went to up in Massachusetts every year. They put on a gigantic haunted house. It's very serious business. And after you get done, you come out and they always have people there to sign. And there were several celebrities there. But sitting at the same table, standing, was Kane Hodder, of course, in his full Jason get-up. And Elvira was sitting down right next to him, dude. I went beeline right for that table. I don't even remember who the other people were. Because that's the table, right? Elvira and Kane Hodder. Come on. Come on. And if you don't know who Kane Hodder is, you should. The suicide is the thing, dude. As well.
Damn.
Yeah. She is still banging Devilish, and she is a full-on grandma. That lady's what, 60 something, 70? I don't know.
Yeah. No, she's 64.
Yeah,
somewhere around there.
But she's just a beautiful woman. She's taking care of herself, and I've seen her recently. She's schlocky, bad joke lady. That's what her shtick is.
Camp.
Right? Camp. It's ultra camp. But you see interviews with her. She seems like a nice lady. When I went and she talked to every fan. Hi, she signed a little thing for you in hand. I didn't even ask. They just signed it and gave it to you, right? But because I don't actually collect signatures, but that is a genuinely nice lady. She gets it, and we see a lot of these celebrities that get too big for their fans. It's very common, and she's and anytime she goes anywhere, I guarantee you people are going up and talking to her, and she's so chill about it.
Well, she was, but Trump broke her too.
Did she? Oh well.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't get it. I really don't understand how Trump broke so many people's minds. Like, he just broke them. They're done. They're gone. He shattered any delusions they had of sanity, and I don't think there's coming back from, like, Ron Perlman. He's gone. He's still talking about Trump. Still going off about Trump.
Oh yeah, him and
hand pisser though. Let's be fair.
Him and Michael Rappaport have nothing better to do with their time than to talk about Trump. It's like,
well, Jesus, guys.
The joke would be that the girls even let him grab their pussy. That would be the joke. But the reality is, and we saw the same thing with Reagan and others, when a celebrity, a Hollywoodite, gets into politics, they hate this. I don't know if it's envy. I don't know what it is. But if you're in the game, in the celebrity game, and then you decide to get into politics, you are the enemy. They did the same thing to Reagan. There are other examples. I don't know what the deal with it is, but there's something in their brain that they can't handle with that. Because keep in mind, one thing about Trump, he surprised me, and I've said it before. I think he did many good things, which is I didn't expect. But let's not forget, Trump is not a Republican. He is a
Yeah.
Democrat, always has been, right? The only reason he did was because they wouldn't let him in because for some reason, if you're a celebrity, then you want to become a politician, they don't like it. I don't know what's going on with that, but that's the source of it. And then, of course, there's hype and people just there's so many sheep in the world, dude. But I don't
Yeah,
know what that psychology is, but that's what happened.
yeah, he broke them. Just straight broke them. It shocks me how so many people, so many rational people, people who are typically very reasonable people, when you get on the topic of Donald John Trump, they just fall apart.
They do.
And anything around him, they lose all sense of reason, all sense of fairness, anything, and they just become pure emotional. And it goes both ways. There's people in support too that are the same. Like just, the dude has this energy that some people just cannot resist, good or bad. They can't resist it, and they'll never. He gets in their head, and he's stuck there. There's no getting him out. When I personally, like I've said, I think Trump's probably the best president of my lifetime. But that's not an endorsement. That's just how shitty the presidents have been in the last 35 years. Just terrible. Just horrific. They've done horrific things. They've done terrible, terrible things in the name of the security of the state. Or they've just done terrible, been accused of unbelievably terrible things. And he was largely at least his policies were largely a realization that something's got to give here. Now, that doesn't mean he did everything right. He didn't. But I think he was trying to hit that note that a lot of people have. I think there's a lot of people in America who are so completely done with Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
If that place blew up tomorrow and everybody in it died, they wouldn't shed a single tear. That's how done we are. We're done. We're done.
The apathy toward January 6th as much as they try to push it.
Nobody gives a shit.
But I actually, because the chat's given out examples of celebrity horror celebrities they met. I did meet. I haven't met. I've met some celebrities in my life, not so much really. Most of them in music, and I've talked about that. But that's simply because I was a studio guy in New York, and I just got invited to parties. It was just coincidence, really, on my part. But one person I saw a lot in New York was Blackie Lawless, and I actually knew him really well. And that dude no one parties better than Blackie. Just they say Tommy Lee does, but I've never met him. Unfortunately, I never met any of the Motley Crue. But they're West Coast anyway. But Blackie, I was at a party and it was typical ridiculously stupid heavy metal rock and roll party. But they had a celebrity was there, and I did chat with her for a while, and she was kind of a cutie, even though she was older than me. I can't remember her name though, but she's like some famous scream queen. I didn't even. I had to be told who she was. I didn't even know who she was, but she was very famous scream queen, a very famous one from like the late 70s and 80s. Someone in the chat will tell me, I'm sure. But that's the only other horror person I think I've ever seen or met. Yeah, I mean, I would love. Oh, Wes Craven would be cool to talk to, and who's the dude that does Freddy? Man, that would be Robert Englund. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind meeting him. How about you?
That could be cool.
You ever meet any horror-based celebrities?
No horror based. I've met a few celebrities, but none of them horror based.
Oh yeah, no. I know that's usually the true. It is more niche. How about you, Thunder? You ever meet any?
No, not that I know of, anyway. No, not really. They don't. It's just not my wheelhouse. It's not. I'm not a big horror guy. It doesn't interest me.
No, that's not her, dude. That's not her, Dave. It's another lady. I'd recognize the name if I saw it. I didn't really know who she was, but that's the only other one I can think of. I think the most famous. I've met some rock and roll celebrities, but as far as world level celebrities, the most famous person I think I've ever met was Desmond Tutu. And silence.
Good old Desmond Tutu, huh?
Yeah, bishop. I guess I think he's a cardinal now, isn't he? I think he was a bishop at the time.
I think so. I
I
think
met
you're
him
right.
in an airport, oddly enough. It's weird. But yeah, I know most people probably don't know who he is. I met the T Rex from Jurassic Park. Sweet. That's nice, Dave. Anyway, we'll continue on. But it is a fun conversation. I do love me some horror movies, for sure. And there's plenty of people. Of course, the epic meet would be Kurt Russell.
Mm.
But that you just kind of die after that, though. There's nothing
Yeah,
more in life to
that's
do.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's time. You might as well
Yeah,
just swallow a shotgun. Like,
you
what are you
might
even
as
doing?
you might
You've
as
done it.
well.
You've done it all. That's all of it.
That is true. That is true. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this, and let's start doing our thing. I think Grimlock's having a moment, so let him have his moment.
Oh, just moving around.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. So let me go ahead and get into this. Now, unfortunately, like I said, I went back and I checked to do some research yesterday because I had actually another plan, but I'll use that next week. But we were doing the show yesterday and we came across Sergeant Rock in our conversations, and I was like, "Ooh, I got to do Sergeant Rock." But like I said, I when I was doing my research yesterday, you do some reading, you watch some video, and it kind of get you enough information to do what you have to do. And I, of course, read Sergeant Rock comics as well. But like I said, Marvelous Video did a really good video a couple, 3, 4 days ago, whatever it was. So unfortunately, it puts a bit of kibosh on it, but I'll do my best here. Now, the interesting thing about Sergeant Rock, there's several interesting things. But the first interesting thing is the name of the writer, Robert Kanigher. Most comic book people really wouldn't know. Really diehard nerds would know. I didn't know. Right. But I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't recognize the name at all, although I've read a bunch of his books and they're good. And his writing is what made Sergeant Rock so famous. But I do recognize the artist a little bit. Joe Kubert. And of course,
Hmm.
Kubert is phenomenally good artist. But the second really interesting thing about Sergeant Rock is why has it persevered, right? Because if you think about it, back in that time, there were war comics a galore, right? I mean, you had This Is War, War Is Hell. There's so many. I mean, there's so many. Just look at Foxhole. I've actually read some of those comic books. Of course, this one here, the last one I got here, the Our Army at War, that was a big one, actually. A lot of people read that one. That was very popular. And of course, this is also where Sergeant Rock came out of. He came out of this particular comic book. And of course, he got his own title later. But there were, I mean, I don't know, dozens and dozens of comic books that were based specifically in war during World War II, and of course during the Korea and Vietnam, they had them too, right? We don't get them these days, and I think that's a shame. But there used to be a lot of them. And keep in mind also, everybody else was on board. Warner Brothers had their, Bugs Bunny selling war bonds, and you had Superman fighting the Japs, and they all looked like Tojo, and extreme exaggerations of Tojo. And you had Marvel characters, of course. At that time, Marvel wasn't around, but characters we'd later see in Marvel, like Captain America, of course, became very big. But so even the mainstream comic stuff, what we would consider it, was into it as well. But Sergeant Rock himself, he came out of this army of war here, our army at war. And of course, with Kubert doing the art, you had some pretty amazing stuff. And this right here, I don't think this is actually Kubert, but Uh, the thing about Sergeant Rock, I think the first point that Joe Kubert's actually the artist, and it's one of the biggest artist names in comic book history, right? But the second point I think is a little bit harder to get at. How has Sergeant Rock endured when nothing else did? The only other character that has endured, and this is a DC character now, and he might have even been at the time for all I know. Let me go check that really quick because I know he came out of that and see if they had a label on that real quick. Let me go back and check that. Yep, no. So he has been there from day one. So he is a DC character. But why has he endured? Because Captain America found his way over to Marvel eventually, right? And
Right.
Captain Marvel, he's endured as well. And there are some other characters like the Black Hawks and various other comics that are still remembered. And they like the Black Hawks, particularly with DC, they pop up every now and then, right? But Sergeant Rock has endured the whole way. And why is that? Why is it Sergeant Rock a normal dude? He has no superhuman or paranormal activities whatsoever. None. But yet he endured. And I think, in my opinion, because I have read some of these old comics, and I know a lot of you guys have read some too. I think it really comes down to Kenninger's writing. Because the thing about Sergeant Rock here, he is great at war. He's a great leader. He turns down promotions because he wants to stay in the field with his men. And of course, his men are an important part of the conversation because they are Easy Company. Now, Easy Company simply is E Company, A, B, C, D, E, etc. And they just call it Easy Company to give it a name, on the radio, because back in those days, radios weren't very clear. So that's where they had the Alfa Romeo Tango, that kind of stuff, so they could understand very clearly because radios weren't very good. But Easy Company is a real thing. Here's some picture of actual Easy Company in World War II. He's got himself some Dutch shoes, so good on there, buddy. But they're real, actual soldiers. They're not made up at all. Matter of fact, I think that was it HBO or Showtime put out that show called Band of Brothers. It was pretty good. That's Easy Company right there as well, or a piece of Easy Company. Was that? Yeah, that's Easy Company. You guys seen Band of Brothers?
I've heard of it, but never seen it.
It's not bad, dude.
Yeah, I've seen some of it. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's not bad at all. I mean, if you want to really just the ultimate, World War II movie, go watch Saving Private Ryan because, damn, dude, damn. I have never sat in a movie where the first 30 minutes of the movie I didn't breathe. I mean, boy, when that came out, I went and saw it, when it first released. The opening of Saving Private Ryan is probably the greatest movie opening of all time. I mean, plain and simple.
It is good. You're probably right. Actually, it's up there. It pulls you in immediately. Saving Private Ryan's one of the last truly great war epics, I'd say.
It is. It is. We've seen some
And
stuff.
it's
Mel Gibson did that movie with a conscientious objector in it. That was really good too. But no, Saving Private Ryan is. You're right. It's a unique bit of cinema right there. Yeah.
yeah, it's probably Tom Hanks' best performance.
Mm.
It's one of Matt Damon's best performances, I think, and he's barely even in it. I
I don't know. Have you seen Mazes and Monsters? I mean, come on now.
haven't.
Yeah.
I have not. But it's just solid. It's solid all around. It's
It's really
probably Spielberg's last movie that was worth a shit. Which is a shame because it was over 20 years ago.
He's just phoning it in, dude. At this point.
Yeah, he doesn't care anymore. He's a billionaire. He don't give a shit anymore.
He's friends with Steven Spielberg, one of the greatest filmmakers in the history of film. We only got 100 years. We're 100 years or so in anyway. And that dude's name's at the top of the list, so he doesn't really have to bother to do anything. But anyway, Easy Company, of course, is a major part of the story as well, and his interaction with his boys, his love of protecting them and fighting alongside them and getting out of it. Another thing that Kenninger did with Rock that I think is really important is Sergeant Rock doesn't like war. Matter of fact, he rather hates it. But if it needs to get done, it needs to get done. Let's get it done as quickly and effectively as we can. I mean, he's got that kind of attitude. And he's never arrogant. He's always doubting his options because it's real, it's serious. People's lives are on the line, and he takes it very, very seriously. But at the same time, you can't be more heroic or full of integrity as Sergeant Rock. And this idea, this concept has continued on. I think they've machismoed it out a bit in more recent times, which is not what you should do with Sergeant Rock. He's not machismo. He's quite the opposite. That is a controlled, thoughtful man. That is not a macho man, right? So, well, I mean, you know what I mean, and I don't mind it. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger played and Stallone played, Macho Man all the time, and it's fine, it's entertaining, but that's not what Sergeant Rock is, right? That's not what he is. This is an actual leader of men and is conscientious, and it's very important. And I think those elements of what made it go over. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, what about the action and all that kind of stuff? But then again, all these comic books and some of those have some other great artists on them as well, right? And they did not continue. I'm sure many of the titles I just showed you've never heard of, and trust me, there are probably like 20 dozen more of them, right? But none of them persist, but Sergeant Rock does. And I don't know. I don't know that I have the answer to why he's so relevant and he's remained relevant the whole time, because they're still doing stuff with him, and I'll get to that in a second. But before I do either one of you know anything about Sergeant Rock? Have you ever read any of his books?
No, can't say
No.
that I have.
The only thing I know
Um,
about him is there was a short film a few years ago, like they did, with Carl Urban playing him. That's about it.
Not a bad choice. We all love Carl. But I have a better choice for you, and you're going to enjoy it as well. But I don't have the complete answer. I've actually read quite a bit of Sergeant Rock, and it was by complete accident, by the way, initially, because I've
hmm,
mentioned this before. When I was a kid, one of my uncles, I think it was my uncle Dave, but one of my uncles was into comic books. Many of my uncles were in World War II or Korea or Vietnam, right? I do come from a military family on both sides. Although my mom's family are maybe they're all fishermen, so of course they're Navy men, submariners mainly. My dad's family are like Marines and front line type of or special service type guys. But nevertheless, so I grew up in a military thinking families, but my uncle, there was literally a sea chest, an actual sea chest, right? And I don't even think it was an army sea chest. I think it was a merchant marine sea chest. But anyway, and it was full of comic books, and a lot of the comic books in there were war books and cowboy books, and there was some other mix of stuff. They had like the entire first run of Green Lantern, kind of nice. But in there, I found Sergeant Rock, and I read a bunch of them. But so I kept going back to Sergeant Rock, and that's was my introduction to Sergeant Rock was that sea chest from my uncle, because he's older, didn't need it, and his kids are all girls, so he gave it to me, right? And Then I started looking for Sergeant Rock in the stores, and of course during the 80s, they were putting out current Sergeant Rock stuff as well, and I read that. So I really appreciated Sergeant Rock, and I don't know if I've elucidated exactly why he's so awesome, but I really think he's an actual leader of men, an actual man. He's not supernatural. He's not macho. He's an actual man. And even though he's fictional, you have to respect him. It's one of those kind of situations. And I suggest you go read some Sergeant Rock. They're still good, dude. They're still good because they're just life stories, and set in a war setting, of course. And of course, you got some great art from Joe Kubert, and even the modern stuff isn't so bad. But nevertheless, talking about Carl Urban doing a little short, and so he's showed up and animated several animated things from DC. Because, like I said, he does persevere. I do have some interesting news because there is a Sergeant Rock movie being written, a screenplay being put together, and the writer of the screenplay is potentially the actual actor for Sergeant Rock. And yeah, I'm not even gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna show you a picture.
Let's do it.
Drink that shit in. Bruce Campbell is Sergeant Rock, dude. I mean, come on. That would be awesome.
Yeah. How old's Bruce?
Too old. Too old, but who cares? Do you care?
That's true.
Yeah, we don't care.
It depends. Depends how much disbelief they need me to suspend. But most likely it'd be fine because he's actually, we know he can do physical stuff even at his age. We've seen him do it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, recently.
Well, he's not going to be jumping off a bunch of roofs and shit. We know that.
Well, and he's not a moron either. Bruce is fairly clever fella, and I imagine he'll write he'll take something off of the stuff that, because supposedly at the end of the Kubert run, they didn't specify it, but Easy Company and Rock died in the war. But later, DC had hinted that he survived and was being used for other stuff. But then also, of course, it's a clone. You know how they screw that shit up. But if he goes that kind of route and he's playing an older Sergeant Rock that gets called back in one last time, yeah, I'd be.
that
up
could be
for that.
cool.
It would be cool.
I don't hate the fact that Carl Urban
I don't
did
either.
it. I think
not a bad choice.
he's fantastic. Yeah.
And that dude right there is a gamer too. And I don't mean that in video games. I mean a gamer. He'll go out and give it a true go.
Yeah.
I mean, look what he's done with The Boys, and they absolutely cut the nuts off of that character. But he's still.
Well, I've heard. I don't know if it's true. I haven't watched any of it. Season 2 really killed my enthusiasm for that show.
Yeah.
But I've heard they've started to give them back.
Yeah, but even though
him
it's
and
still the girls,
Homelander,
it's still the girls kicking ass. It's all about the girls. It's 100% about the girls. The boys can go fuck off, which is really dumb when you have a show called The Boys. And of course, season 1, I understand you guys gave it a little more credit than I did. I was not pleased with that 100% because that is a great run by Garth Ennis. But one of the things that annoyed the shit out of me is the fact that the woman, who is actually like a little teeny girl in the book, right? She's what, 12, 14, something like that. She's a little girl, little Asian girl that doesn't speak. Well, she's a full grown, nearly 40-year-old woman in the movie. She's got and they're having her in a sexual relationship with Frenchie. Are you fucking kidding me? Frenchie and her was very much a fatherly figure to her, right? That was his role. He was protective and fatherly toward her. But they just twisted that shit. Fucking Hollywood, dude.
Chester, don't you know that if you don't have unnecessarily raunchy sex in a TV show, nobody's going to watch it?
Well, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but they didn't even play that angle. Well, no, seriously, one of the things, we know that book was highly political, and it was how you, and it's a good example of how you do politics. But one of the results of the superheroes and the and Compound V is that, spoilers, is that it enhances them in every way and also gives them like superpower, but it enhances them in every way, including their libido, right? And they're very, very oversexed, and this is an actual problem with them, right? And the thing that they haven't done in this show, which is really beyond me, why did the boys exist in Ennis's story? They were a secret part of the government that dealt with the Supes when they got out of line. That's what they were. That's what the boys are. They were put in as a stopgap measure to deal with Supes out of line, and whether they're fucking shit or killing shit or drugging shit or whatever they do, they get out of hand because everything is enhanced to the nth degree. And it's very difficult, and I think the series stressed it really well. It's very difficult for them to to just live because they're so in tuned and raged up, roided up almost all the time. And that was an important. I just named off several important points of Garth Ennis' story, none of which show up in the Boys live action TV series. None of it. Yeah. Well, thank you for your agreement. But
well,
I
will say I've never read The Boys, so I don't have an opinion.
Yeah,
and
me
I've
neither.
not watched the series, so
you should
I
go
I don't
read
have
that.
an opinion.
Well, you like
I-
comics,
Well-
and you would love that.
Well, Chester, since we are talking about comics,
Yeah.
I will share this in the general chat, as
Oh.
it is just what we are talking about. This
Okay.
had recently came out, so I think you'd be interested in seeing it.
Oh boy, yeah. I'll bring that over and just show it to them in general. I won't buy. Oh boy. Oh no. I guess I won't. So let me do it. This is easier. Let me just do it like this. And
Let me just do it like this. Sounds like he's about to bust out into some songs. Just do it like this.
all right. Well, actually, no. I'll just show it right here. What am I doing?
That's how they would do it in
Stupid.
the old big band days. To do it like this.
Yeah. Well, hey, but let me pop that off and bring it over the other side here. All right. So there we go. Yeah, no, here we have ourselves a Kickstarter, and you bastard.
Oh, it's comic news.
No,
Who's talking
because now
about it?
you're making me spend money. I'm going to tell my wife.
I'm not making you do nothing.
No, this must be owned. This must be owned, dude. Yeah. Good on them. And a full-on omnibus of it it's a three-part omnibus, I guess.
Yeah, you can order whichever one you want. They're oversized. So considering I own quite a few omnibuses, it will probably be bigger than anything I currently have.
I really want to get into collecting them, but I haven't been able to bite. There's two things I want to collect, but I'm just too involved I with other expenses right now. But I'd love to collect omnibuses, and I would love to collect sideshow collectibles statues.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind spending money on that. But yeah, no, this needs to be bought, I'm thinking. Is there anything added to it, or is it just it's got Herogasm in there? Alrighty.
I forgot, what are the tiers on this?
Well, I'm just wondering if
will
they
be right
added
back.
anything interesting, or they got foil covers. Oh, okay, that's fine. God damn it! How much am I have to spend now, Grimlock? God. Let me see. Let me get up. Where am I looking at here? Number 7 for I don't know what do I want? I want where am I looking here? I need everything. So all 3 Boys Virgin Art variants, $40. It's actually not that expensive. Of course, shipping could cost me $300.
Those are signed variants. Right. Those are not the omnibuses. Though.
Where are they? Or here they are.
Yeah, okay. Go down some.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. So let me just go to the bottom of it and go up. Oh, you bastard. It goes further than I have. Oh, no. All right, so what is this? This is $600. Oh, Grimlock. All right. I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at it. That is freaking $600, and then $300 for shipping. No, seriously, I'm not even kidding. I looked the other day to pick up the I wanted to, when I read a lot of stuff on PDF, but if I'm going to use a RPG book, I want it in my hand, right? So I went to go pick up the Monty Cook Cipher System book, right? Just the main one. And it was like $60. That's sorry, that's fine. That's what they cost these days. But the shipping was $300. That I'm not kidding.
And it's sad because Dynamite more so than any other company has been using Kickstarter and Indiegogo for books. And they have put out quite a few omnibuses through Kickstarter, because I haven't gotten around to reading them yet, but I have both of them. I have Volume 1 and 2 of The Darkness, because I
Right.
never, outside of a few floppies, I didn't have it, and the video game, of course. But I have that, and I have Witchblade Volume 1 and 2 as well. And I think they just had an omnibus of Cyberforce.
Oh yeah, hey, there you go. But alrighty, well, Thundera, you're in America. I'm too far away. You're going to have to deal with Grimlock for me. Because that's basically around $1,000 I have to spend now, and I'm blaming you. I'm telling my wife it's you.
I'll take the blame for that.
Yeah.
He has to spend. It must happen. There's
come
no
on,
alternative.
Come on, a beautiful reproduction, oversized of The Boys with the actual signature of the creators. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yep. Because this is one
Here's
of the greatest stories of all.
You know how I am. You know how I am.
Yeah.
I don't like the deconstruction nonsense. And one of the main reasons I probably dislike it so much is pretty much my entire young adult to adult life. That's kind of been the norm. That's kind of been like the thing that everybody tries to do. To some degree. We've had a few standout exceptions, but it just seems to happen a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm just over it. I want heroes again. I want it to be cheesy. I want it to be corny. I want it to be, and it's storming like a son of a bitch here. I want it to be just what I miss about American culture is the heroism.
I understand that. I understand that. But if you're going to have one to represent it, this is the one.
Yeah, but everybody says that about fucking Watchmen. Everybody says that about Dark Knight Returns. Everybody says that about all of this shit. I'm sick of it. I want heroes again.
The Dark Knight Returns is a hero book, so that doesn't really qualify. The Watchmen, Alan Moore's Watchmen, is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a pretty solid book, but it's not The Boys. It's not. Nor is Red Sun. Nor is any of the other stuff. The Boys is the creme de la creme of that British invasion as far as superhero books. It is. I'm sorry.
See, I know how to get Thundaro. I just didn't do it before. We just gotta get Thundaro, Thor by Walter Simonson omnibus, and he'll be a happy lad.
I would be a very happy lad. Yeah,
it would be
absolutely.
But anyway, let's go ahead and continue on, and I shall forever hate Grimlock. You bastard. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue. Now, I have to put a retraction in.
Uh-oh. Yeah. He's retracting.
I'm retracting. Because yesterday I was talking about how disappointed I've been so far with the new video games coming out. As far as the AAA stuff, the indie stuff, there's some exciting things. And I think next week on the we got this damn seller in here again. But next week I'm probably going to take some time to look at the cool indie stuff. I'll accrue a list of interesting indie stuff to sit and talk about. I'll try to be eclectic about it.
Holy shit!
What?
You guys didn't hear that thunder? It shook my whole house, my screen, everything.
Well, that's what you get, Thundero.
Woo! I must have pissed off Daddy Thor. Holy shit!
But here is my retraction.
He heard you. He heard you didn't have the Simonson run.
That's right. But here's the thing. I watched a lot of it and I wasn't really interested, or I was disappointed. And of course, the message was all over it. Even though probably playing the games, the message isn't as strong as they want to promote. It's usually that way, right? But I watched like not even half, like the first bit of the Starfield thing, and it just looked. It looked boring. It didn't look interesting. And honestly, even the rest of the information I watched, still, I'm not sure how interesting it's going to be. However, if Starfield can do what Todd Howard said, the caveat is that Todd Howard said,
yes.
But if it can do what Todd Howard said, wow, dude. Wow. Because not only Are you able to play Skyrim in space or Fallout in space, basically? And that's what it looks like. It's the same kind of Bethesda look, and that's fine,
Yeah.
right? But you can also have your own base and build it over time, so it's got a little bit of city builder in it. And the demonstration we got you're building a pretty big base, right?
Looks like you have multiple bases, in fact.
You could exactly, you could. And let me get to it. Don't mess with my retraction. Okay, but you can also go out into the world and get people to be your staff and staff your base. You can also, at your base, you can build your own spaceships. And you can also go out into the world and you can hire people to be on and help you fly your spaceship.
Yeah.
And I saw a couple of clips that inferred maybe also things like mining businesses and other things you can do with crafting. And they're going that direction with it. Also, not only can you go anywhere on the main planet, anywhere you want, right? Where their city of Atlantis, how original Todd is on the planet, you can go to all the planets in that solar system. Oh, no, wait. There's 100 star systems you can go to.
What? Yes, but it's New Atlantis. Jeez.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I watched the whole thing too. I went back and watched the whole presentation. It was like 15 minutes. And if that stuff's all true, Todd Howard has pulled off some shit. Honestly. Like, I know there've been games that have done similar things and in a similar vein. But if this has the full RPG elements of a Bethesda game and actually a return to form with proper RPG elements, and it seems to, and it has this ability to build and customize your own ships, like you said, and it has this ability to do space combat, which actually looked pretty decent, and you can build what appears to be basically a little space empire of your own choosing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's more than I ever expected. So if all of that's true, and it's not a complete buggy piece of shit like every other Bethesda game, Todd may have pulled it off. They may actually launch a new IP that is awesome.
Yeah.
Bethesda might pull it off.
And because when I went back and I was like, whoa. Because the thing is, there's over 1,000 planets, and Devilish asked a question, and I shall answer it. According to Todd Howard, not only can you land on all of those planets, you can walk the entire surface of them.
Yep. Any planet, all of them. Anyway. Now, I'm sure some of them are going to be nonsensical, just repeated biomes over and over and over again.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
But that's awesome. That is literally what everybody's always wanted. Like, anybody who's ever played space games, look at Star Citizen. The reason Star Citizen has existed for so long as this meme, but yet there's still people genuinely hyped for that thing to eventually be finished if it ever is because that's what we want. We want the simulation of exploring space.
Yep.
Genuinely. Full on.
Yep.
And Starfield might be the best example of it ever if he pulls this off.
It might kick Star Citizen ass because Star Citizen is a great idea, but they're 30 years out, so good luck with that.
Yeah, if they ever finish it, yeah.
No Man's Skyrim, yeah, that's true, Devilish. Now, No Man's Sky has gotten better, but that was a complete lie and debacle. That was absolute lie, and I don't like the visuals. I'm much more prefer the visuals of Bethesda in this case. And another thing to keep in mind. Bethesda and Microsoft as well, they have never shown themselves to be the loot boxers. That's not what they do. 1. 2, they have always been all in for the mod community. Always. Imagine that game being modded, dude.
Oh. Well, think about it. You got 1,000 planets. That's not including, at least I'm assuming that's not including all terrestrial bodies. He said 1,000 planets specifically.
There's more celestial bodies, but of course just
the right. There's moons, there's asteroids, things like the comets. I'm assuming I have no reason to doubt that stuff's going to be in there.
Yeah, and even if they only model 100, I mean, my goodness, right?
Just imagine what you could do with that. So there's already obscene amounts of mods for Skyrim and Oblivion and Morrowind and all of Bethesda's games, right? Just ridiculous amounts of mods. People have done things with those games that even Bethesda had to admit was amazing, and literally released a new version of Skyrim with 500 of them put in because
Fallout
they were just so
Miami,
cool.
dude. Badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just amazing stuff. Now imagine you have basically a small sector of your own little galaxy to play with. Huh,
Yeah, no.
bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I could already envision somebody's going to mod in. I can't remember the name of it. What's the name of the planet that Elder Scrolls is on? Whatever it is, I can't remember it. Somebody's gonna mod that in, and you'll be able to go to that planet in this game.
Tyrell?
No, it's Tamriel is the name of the continent. I think. I think the planet has a different name. I can't remember.
True. That's probably true. But yeah. So I'm retracting that statement. It still didn't look. It looked kind of boring. But if you can do that, and there's space battles, you can fly the ships, you can shoot the ships, and like I said, the modders will take over, and they will produce the most badass stuff, dude. Now this guy, I blocked him, so he went and he switched himself to a different channel, different name, to come and spam on this little channel. I don't know what your point is there, buddy. There's only like 30 of us here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I already blocked. Yeah, we blocked one. What the hell?
Well, he just changed his name on Google and just came in with another one. But it's like, why are you, go mess with a big channel? What are you doing here for? Hey, lady.
We're not interested. We're not interested in your cheapest one-time date spot. Go away. Go bot somewhere else.
The first one got me a little bit. I thought was odd though. So we have. I'm not going to say the name, I guess, but this sex site says, "Stop jerking. Cheaper than Tinder." Well, now why are you telling people this? So therefore this is a site where you can hook. I don't believe so. Is he trying to say it's a hookup site? Whatever. Screw off, dude.
I don't know what's cheaper than beating your meat, but
yeah, that's fair.
Apparently,
I don't understand why he's over here. I mean, this is a small little like friend community channel. This isn't a YouTube channel. What's he doing?
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, I need to go pull my car into the garage because it looks like it's going to start hailing. So I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's not good. Get that out of there. But yeah, Grimlock, did you see the Starfield presentation at all?
Yeah, I did. I kind of stick with what I said yesterday. Like, I saw how big it is, and what he's. I mean, the part about the different planets, that is mighty ambitious, and a lot of people have made similar promises and not come through with it. So
caveat. Yeah.
I will take that. Believe it when I see it, kind of thing. But
yeah.
I just looked at that game and I go, well, what can I do in this game that I can't do in the Outer Worlds, or even Warframe for that matter?
No, that's fair. But do keep in mind that No Man's Sky has shown us how you do it, because the game actually does what it says now. It actually does pre-generate planet after planet after planet. But I'm sure they're going to go that kind of route with some parameters around it. But I just. Dude, and here's another thing. I kind of wanted to wait for Thundero, but I'll say it now. I don't know about you, because like I said, it did kind of look boring. It did, but if you can do all those things, you can go out and recruit people, and you can build that city builder aspect inside a Bethesda game. But I don't know about you, but I got this feeling: is this going to be an MMO? I kind of felt like that's where, because we know they do single player games. Fallout 76 was their attempt to do multiplayer, but they do single player games. But I don't know what it was, but I just got a feeling that this is an MMO. And if that is true, boy, they're opening up a huge can of worms, because MMOs are rough, dude. They have debugging issues anyway, right? Already, and an MMO will put you on the back end for that. But they have been bought by Microsoft, and Microsoft does have access to those kind of folk.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know, dude. They're keeping it close to their vest, and that would be smart. But I have to say, if this does what it says it's going to do, I will be playing it.
Oh,
It's plain and simple, dude. Because I did enjoy Fallout 3 a lot. Fallout Las Vegas, I think it was called, was really good.
New Vegas.
New Vegas. I didn't like the new stuff. I loved Morrowind on the Xbox. That's my favorite Bethesda game. Oblivion was okay. Skyrim was okay. I know, sacrilege. Shoot me. But yeah, that's Morrowind was my favorite, and I did like Fallout 3 quite a bit. I thought it was cute and interesting. But I don't know. We'll see. But I had to say this because once I went and watched and I realized, ooh, I should have kept my mouth shut until I had watched it all of it.
I agree with everything you just said, Chester.
Yeah. Well,
I literally did hear what you were saying. I had my headset on. I was outside.
right.
But no, I do agree with you. If and that's a big old fat if.
Yeah.
This game delivers on even 80% of what he's saying it can do. Because remember, he said a lot of stuff about Fallout 4 too that didn't come to fruition.
No, Todd Howard, yes.
But if it does,
Just
that's awesome. Even if it gives me that exploration aspect, which is what I think. I mean, the premise of the game is you join an organization called Constellation, and the last explorers in the galaxy, or whatever he said.
Right.
So exploration's a big deal. If they pull that off and make it interesting and make it actually entertaining to do, because a lot of games have done it, but it's boring because you just don't get the sense of wonder. You don't get. There's a lot of sameness, and that's pretty much what exploring space would be like. It'd be kind of boring. But if they can pull this off, one of the things that they did in Skyrim that they don't get enough credit for, the art team did, at the direction of Todd Howard, to be fair, is every time you look in the distance, or not every time, but the goal was for every time you look in the distance, it's an epic view. It's an epic scene. It's got this this fantastical nature, this wondrous nature to it.
Yeah.
If
Amazon
they can bring
stole
that,
by the way, for New World.
yes. If they can bring that to a game about exploring space, bro.
Yeah, baby.
Because a lot of the problem a lot of people have with a lot of these AAA games, myself included, and a lot of just games that have been IPs that have been around a long time, is we're bored. We love them, but we've seen it. Right? You're not impressed. I have no sense of novelty anymore. I have no sense of wonder. I have no sense of awe. And if they can pull this off, that's where the awe will be. And that's important. I think the gaming industry has lost almost its desire to leave its audience awestruck.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
We know Todd wants to do that. We know. The thing is about Todd, he does put his foot in his mouth, but he is a passionate dude. He does have a vision, and he does want to impress us. That no matter how much shit he gets, that is a truthful statement. And the modding community is going to eat the shit out of that game, dude. My God, can you imagine? Especially when they get into the code and they start pulling out how they can make their own planets. Oh, dude.
Oh, it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy. Like, imagine there's a Coruscant. They just build Coruscant. There you go. Now you can go to Coruscant.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Just insane shit like that. I'm pretty excited about it. As long as they do everything, and it's Bethesda, so I don't doubt that they will, to make sure that the modders are facilitated as much as they literally can do.
Yeah.
Bethesda quite literally gives people what they call their Gex system.
They do. And
that's basically their tools. This is how we create this game. Here you go. Mm-hmm. And they let you work on it. They let you get in there and play.
Right. And we noticed that just to put a caveat on that, we noticed they had no real problem with that until they tried to do a multiplayer, and that's when people started taking advantage of that, right?
Yes.
With Fallout 76.
I would love for Starfield to have some sort of multiplayer component. I don't want them to focus on it to the detriment of anything else, though. Listen, I love multiplayer games to a certain extent, but I think that it's been a long time, a very long time, since Halo 3 was the last game, I think, in my opinion, that did the multiplayer plus single player combination correctly, or at least it seemed as if they had a good balance in their focus. I don't trust any of these games companies to do it anymore. I just simply don't. You're either going to get one or the other from them for whatever reason. That's what you're going to get, and that's fine. Just give me one or the other. Don't try to give me both, because clearly the industry is just not capable anymore. It has been
Right.
so long since they've nailed it, where it was both were really good in their own ways, on their own merits, that I'm just not interested in that. Just do one or the other. Don't try to do both unless you can prove to me you're capable of doing both somehow.
Right.
And the last company that did it was old Bungie, not this modern Bungie, old Bungie, and even they can't do it anymore.
No,
So
that's true. But what I would do is put it out as normal single player Bethesda game, and then have an online option and a MMO server, and turn it over to Microsoft and let them get their people on that, because an MMO is a completely different beast when it comes to debugging. It's
yeah,
a very different thing. I don't know. I just something about that the trailers they showed us just made me think MMO, or maybe thinking that it should be. I don't know, but I just wanted to talk about it because, dude, I was wrong. Maybe.
Chester Busby was wrong.
Hey,
Write it down, everyone.
write it down.
Write it down on your calendars. He's admitting it to God and everybody.
I did. Yeah.
He
And
was
Comic
wrong.
Book Bob mentioned something that I went and checked out, because a lot of the trailers, because like I said, I'll try to set it up for next week's Night Owls, because I want to talk about some of the indie stuff, because there is some interesting indie stuff. It's AAA stuff that wasn't interesting me. But someone mentioned, and this would be an indie thing. Comic Book Bob mentioned in the chat about, of course, Gungrave. And I remember watching this anime. I never read the manga, but I did watch the anime, and it was fun. It was interesting. But dude, where is it here? Here it is. Why go away? I don't want you. Yeah, dude. I'm not gonna play the audio, because they don't like that. But take a look at this Gungrave video, dude.
Let's see what we got.
It looks campy and fun, as it should. Just spins the guy's neck around. Yeah. You got to watch it with audio, but it's just fun, dude. It just looks fun, and Gungrave should be fun. And there's been other games. It's not the only video game for Gungrave. They've been doing many of them, actually. But it looks good, dude.
That's like interesting.
You know what this reminds me of, and I say this sadly, knowing what has happened to it. Remember when Saints Row was fun?
Yeah.
They try to
Yeah.
bring that back. You saw what they were doing with Saints Row, but I think they're like, "Hey guys, don't you remember Saints Row was fun? Can't you see? It's fun, everybody. Look at the fun."
No. We talk about woking shit up. They really woke the fuck
They
out of
did.
Saints
Yeah.
Row, and
They did.
nobody's gonna buy that shit. Nobody.
This game seems to be in the same vein as what you're talking about, the old Saints Row. It's tongue in cheek. It's just good old fun. Let's go, beauty, badass, and bullets. Yeah. Yeah.
This looks like something I would play and have fun with.
Hell yeah. And fun would be the prime word there, not educational.
Remember when games were just fun, Chester? They're just fun.
Yeah, I do. But
I miss that.
Yeah, no. So it's I saw that. I went and looked at that because Combo Bob mentioned, and I think it looks good. I agree, and like I said, I'll try to push something together. But just to kind of reiterate what I was talking about with Bruce Campbell, he is writing Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead for DC Comics, but there also have been talks and noise about him possibly doing a screenplay for a live action too. So the comic book's definitely happening. And who knows? Maybe it'll come down to if it gets enough push on it. But I would love to see Bruce Campbell, doing that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into today's stuff. Boom.
Our boy, AEW star Jeff Hardy arrested on multiple charges months after WWE firing over suspected substance abuse.
How many times are they going to fire this guy?
The audience keeps asking for him back.
Because he's awesome. Jeff Hardy's awesome. I get it. But he has a serious drug problem, and he's had it for decades, dude.
literally decades. No, I don't know. It looks like he is. They're stopping all promotion. AEW is. The match they had planned. They had a big triple threat ladder match planned with him and the Young Bucks and their tag team champions in AEW, and it looks like that's been canceled. So he might be one of the only people. There's only been a handful who Tony actually just fires, which is a shame. The president of AEW, Tony Khan, he might actually just release him.
Well, what are you gonna do, dude? What are you gonna? The guy can't get.
There's nothing he can do,
man. You can't get past.
There's nothing he can do. He has to grow up. He has to accept responsibility for his own trauma and his own pain, even if it isn't his fault, because no one else can fix it but him.
Yeah.
And he's got to just get past it. It's simple as that. I know it's a lot easier to say than it is to do, but I grew up with a drunk alcoholic father, and he told me one day, listen, the rest of my life I'm always going to want to drink, and every day I have to wake up and tell myself not to. And that's what Jeff's got to do. It's simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, and other people have beaten it. Mick Foley would be a person that could probably be a big help to him. Actually, there's several guys, and they're our community because they understand the pains of what their job, right? Because they break their bodies, right, for our entertainment. This guy is electric. He's nearly my age. He's getting a little older to do this that level, what he does anyway. But he's 100% electric. He is the extreme error. He is, right? He's one of the most dynamic, electric, interesting wrestlers of all time. But he's had this drug problem really bad for a long time, dude. This is not new. I mean, this is not new. And
he was actually doing decent stuff in AEW. Like they were building big tag matches with him and that Darby Allin guy who he's a really small guy, but he's really good. They were doing interesting stuff with him. They were setting up some pretty cool storylines that they could tell, and it looks like that's all just going to stop now.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. And it's all because he just simply can't control himself around narcotics and booze. He just can't do it.
And AEW is a perfect place for him because that is smaller man wrestling, right? Grimlocker, you have mic trouble or something, dude? I think he's so good. No, okay, no.
I was just muted.
Oh, okay, okay. He hates wrestling.
Sounds like he's eating.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, I was smacking a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
No, Grimlock's a huge wrestling fan. Actually, we talk about it all the time.
It's just sad that Jeff just can't get out of his own way.
No, he can't. And
I mean, he's been doing this a long time. I mean, people forget he's in his mid-40s now.
Yeah.
And I mean, his brother's been doing this since they was like 16.
Yeah, their story is great until the drugs come in. And his brother Matt, I'm assuming he's not wrestling at all. His legs are way too bad.
Oh no, they was wrestling together.
Yeah, he wrestles. He doesn't wrestle very often though. Yeah, he doesn't wrestle very often though, but he does still wrestle. Yeah.
Yeah, because these guys.
I agree with you. Yeah. It's hard to watch him walk. It looks
hard,
painful,
dude. And I get him out there, and good for him. But the way these guys wrestle, all wrestlers damage their body. Getting into a career, a long career as a wrestler, you have to be able to take care of yourself. Because those guys, I know it's choreographed to a point. I get it, but they are really putting their body out there. And they get injuries, real life, actual injuries all the time. And these guys fight. The way they wrestle is in such a way that they're really out there, right? But another person, I think, Randy Orton is the perfect package as far as wrestling, in my opinion. However, the most shocking wrestler who's been around a long time and he's still badass and awesome is Dolph Ziggler.
Big fan of Dolph.
I mean, Dolph, dude. I mean, that dude puts his body out there all the time, but he keeps himself safe and clean so that he can keep doing it. Dolph Ziggler's impressive, dude.
It wasn't until very recently in his career, which he's older now, so he can't take the punishment he used to. He didn't really have any major injuries. It was very recently he had his first major injury, and it's because he takes really good care of himself. He keeps himself in great shape, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the best example I can give for how, what these guys do to themselves, John Cena, who, I don't have any respect for John Cena as a person, but when it comes to athletics and taking care of his body,
Oh yeah.
he's a freak when it comes to that stuff.
And
So
he's
like
just
he
a major
literally,
injury.
yeah, because he would have chronic back pain, because of course he would. So what he did is he literally traveled the world. One of the reasons he was in China initially was he was over there with alternative medicine guys and literal Shaolin monks trying to fix his back, trying to make it so it didn't hurt. And they did. They fixed it, but they literally had to torture him first. But yeah, he went all over the world looking for relief to chronic back pain because and John Cena's not an extreme wrestler either.
No,
He would have
no,
some
he's
matches, sure, here or there, but his style incredibly safe, incredibly simple, and even he was all banged up. So a lot of this is physical torment they put themselves through. A lot of it is they just didn't know. Like a lot of people take for granted what we know now, but 20 years ago, people didn't know things like how bad inflammation is for you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's most injuries are caused from untreated inflammation
That's right.
that your body just can't deal with.
Which they have solved,
And
and that's thanks to
yes,
a plasma scientist, by the way, just so you know.
yep, they've largely solved that problem, or at least they've greatly addressed it. Obviously, we claim we didn't really know about concussions. That's bullshit. We just didn't care. But we do care now, at least in society, quote
Suck it
unquote,
up,
cares more
Buttercup.
now.
I agree.
Yeah. But these things are good. These are good developments, especially for wrestlers, because wrestlers do go through hell. But these guys are still old hat, right? They started their career 25 years ago, 30 years ago. So they've been beating themselves up hard for a very long time. Like you were saying, Matt, man, watching Matt walk, he looks like he's in agony,
dude,
just
tragic.
walking.
Yeah.
Oh,
But when you talk about like Cena, for instance, and I get your disdain for him. But that's what I call a mic wrestler. Tom Hardy here is an example of an actual wrestler.
Tom Hardy. You mean Jeff Hardy?
Jeff, yeah, Jeff. Sorry, Tom Hardy. I bet you he get in the ring too.
Yeah, he's a manlet.
Yeah, Jeff, he is, but so is Jeff. But Jeff Hardy here is an actual wrestler. I mean, he throws he's a circus acrobat, and he will throw himself literally onto hard mat floors.
Yes.
And willingly and without blinking.
Just recently in a match,
he is a mic.
No,
wrestler.
Just recently in a match, they were having a hardcore match, whatever you want to call it. Him and that Darby Allin guy, and he did one of his swanton bombs.
Oh, jeez.
He was supposed to hit Darby, who was laying on the steel steps. Darby moved, and he just bounced off the steel steps. Just 6-foot fall right to the steel.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what are you... Like, that's just brutal. There's no way to take that and not have it be brutal. There's no way for that not to hurt. You're falling with all your body weight, 5 or 6 feet, onto steel.
Yeah.
Steel.
He does it
That hurts.
unsafely a lot of times. Every time he does it, it makes me cringe.
Yes.
Talk about an old school wrestler who could do flying stuff safely, like Superfly Snuka, right?
Yeah.
Superfly could do this kind of stuff, but he'd do it clean and safe. Hardy doesn't care. And it's because of the drugs. But another example of a person who really threw their body around, I don't know that he really hit, but he was a South African wrestler. Pretty boy. I mean, really pretty boy. But that guy would throw his body around like Tom would. I mean, like Jeff would. What's that guy's name? What's that wrestler's name? South African guy. He's a pretty boy.
Justin Gabriel?
Maybe. He's actually a legacy wrestler. His dad was a wrestler too. But he throws his body around crazy. The gymnastics he does is impressive. But he's another one that makes you cringe every time he does it. Like, oh God, don't snap a leg, or what are you doing?
Right.
But this.
Yeah, no, it's a shame. It's tragic, honestly. He's one of these guys that Vince McMahon has always loved. He just, for whatever reason, he's like a Shawn Michaels. Vince just loves him, and he always has. That's always been the case. Him and Vince have always been, like that. And if it wasn't for his problems with substance abuse, he would have been he's a huge star. He would have been an even bigger star, I think. I think Vince would have pushed him through the
If he,
moon, he would have
he would
just
have.
give him everything
He
if he could have
wanted
trusted
to.
him, but he
He
just
wanted
couldn't
to.
trust him.
He killed
Yeah,
himself.
killed himself.
That's what I'm saying. This isn't new. This has happened many, many times. He's been fired and hired
Yep.
over and over and over again for literal decades because he can't get his shit together, and it's ridiculous. This guy could be one of the biggest wrestling superstars in the world if he
Yep.
if he did like Dolph Ziggler, right? If he took
Yep.
care of himself. I don't know why Bill is just randomly mentioning Coco Beware, but okay. And Devilish is talking about the freak that is Kurt Angle. You are correct, sir. But I just thought, I know it's not comic related, but I just, man, god damn it.
It's sad. It's sad. Jeff, get the help you need, buddy. You got a wife, you got kids. What are you doing, man?
Yeah.
What are you doing? You got a brother who loves you, who goes to bat for you every time. Like, he's got the support. It's on him. And I think the problem is he knows that, and he just can't deal with it. Can't face himself in the mirror, and that's what drives him into these
Yeah.
fits.
I just don't understand that kind of thinking. Like,
You know what I would Chester, I would kill to have a brother like Matt Hardy, like Jeff and Matt have. Like, they're real close in age. I don't all my brothers are dead. I would kill to have that kind of relationship with a brother.
yeah,
And it's something I think he takes for granted. You know, I genuinely do, because you got a guy like Matt who, by all accounts, is a good dude. By all accounts, Matt Hardy he's the good Hardy, right? He's the good guy. He's the actual real life babyface. And then you have Jeff, who should be, right? All aside from this one problem, he's a good dude. And Matt will not turn his back on his brother. He'll never give up on his brother. He's been very clear about that. No matter how many times he screws up, he's always got his brother's back, always going to bat for him. You can't buy that. That's something so many people would literally kill for, to have a relationship that close with another person, that the other person doesn't gain anything from it. Matt don't get anything out of this. So Jeff's problems are problems that don't just affect him. Wrestling aside, man, I can't imagine being Matt Hardy. I can't imagine working that hard with your brother, trying to prop your brother up, loving your brother, always being there for your brother. Whenever somebody has any crossword to say about him, he shows up to defend him. And then every time, he just shits in your face. Just every time.
Yeah.
Just right in your mouth. Just makes you look like an ass.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. But it comes down to the stupid thinking I was talking about. And I give an example. It's completely off topic of this, but it's an example of stupid thinking. Yesterday, I had a class with a bunch of professionals, right, adults. And I do most of my adult stuff on my Monday. And but anyway, so I was in the class, and we're right at the end of the class actually, and one of the guys in the class, he's quite liberal, right? And which is rare in Japan. It's super rare. But he is quite liberal, and his English is quite good. And he, for some reason, wanted to get into the Me Too conversation. I don't know why, but he wanted to. So we got into that. And well, in Japanese, they don't like controversy and stuff, so they're not going to respond very much. But I will. Yeah. And I said, no, I have no sympathy for that. And he's like, well, how, why? I said, because, sure, the only good thing came out of Me Too is a spotlight was put on something that should have been put a spotlight on 100 years ago. Why is Hollywood not a professional place? Why is that not like any other professional environment? Right. And of course, I know why, and you know why. Sure, that's the only good thing. Other than that, you have lecturers that are making proposals they shouldn't be doing in a professional setting, and you got women accepting it. They simply prostitute themselves. I have zero sympathy. And he was like, yeah, but those men are in positions of power, and it's bullshit.
Hey,
Women have all the power especially when it comes to sex. What are you talking about? And he just going to rant, and during that rant, and there's a woman in the room, by the way. And and these are people, these are actual English speakers. These are not like beginner students. These are advanced students. And the whole time that I'm sitting and I'm rebutting him, she's shaking her head, agreeing with me 100%. Right. And he's not paying attention at all to the only woman in the room and her responses. Right. She's not speaking. She's responding to me and my responses. And he actually, this is stupid thinking, right? I've already explained some stupid thinking, but here's the nth degree of stupid thinking. Because I don't know, the dude's 60 something. I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually a virgin.
No,
Actually,
no.
seriously, because he seems that way. But he also made this statement: "Quote: Women only have sex to get what they want. They don't actually like it."
What?
Okay,
Or he's just
that
really
sounds like
bad at it.
somebody who doesn't. That's what the young folks call major incel energy.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
that's some incel
64,
energy.
I do believe. But here's and
That
I ended the
that's interesting to
conversation.
me
It is, but I ended
because
the
I think a lot of these dudes, real quick, I think a lot of these dudes, they've never made a woman come, and that's why they're like that. They've never done it. They don't know what they don't even understand that frame of reference. They've never brought a woman to
Tragic.
orgasm.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I made it. I did make him mad because my closing comment was, "You don't understand women at all."
Yeah.
And the woman in the room nodded her head.
How old is this woman, Chester?
Oh, she's probably 45, 43. These are all professionals.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she actually works for she has a similar job to my wife actually. But
If Chester wasn't married, he'd have gave that dude a visual lesson.
maybe. Oh yeah.
But hey, come here. Let me show him something.
See. You see her over there? She's been nodding the whole time. Now I'm about to make her nod some more.
Yeah.
Watch.
Well, no, it's just stupid thinking. I know it has nothing to do with the Jeff Hardy situation, but it's stupid thinking, and
Yeah.
it's
Magical thinking.
It is, and we sit here and goof and talk about all kind of stuff, but I'll tell you what: if a conversation comes up and I don't know, you know what I do? I say I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. But what a dumb series of comments he made, though. Especially the sex one. There were others. I'm not going to get into the full, discourse of it. But that last one, that women only have sex because they want something, though they don't actually like it. It's clearly you've
That's
never had sex with a woman, dude. It's clear.
one that is horrendously sexist. Like, I
It's
don't like
very
those
sexist.
buzzwords, but Jesus, God in heaven, my Lord. And two, it's just completely and factually untrue. I'm sorry, sir, that you've never actually pleasured a woman.
Yeah.
That's tragic, and you're 64, so you probably never will. I have no solutions to this problem for you,
No.
my friend.
No,
None.
I pissed
That's
him off.
horrible.
Though. I might lose that student, but I'm okay with that. I got plenty of my business is kids anyway.
She only slept with me because she wanted the 2 for $6 at Arby's.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Arby's sounds good.
To be, you can put a little bit of caveat on that. To be fair, there's plenty of women that if they have a good roll in the hay, they're good for a week. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, they
Sure.
they don't have that little hammer that men have. Fair enough. But
Yeah, every morning, son of a bitch
every
is just banging
every
away.
second of every fucking day. Yeah. But only men get that, I guess, because women don't have that type of instinct. But sure. So women might be sad if you did a good job, they might be satisfied for a little bit of time. But that's that's the only caveat I put on it, right?
Yeah.
Because if you've ever been in bed with a freak, you understand that 100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but dumb thinking, Jeff. God damn it. God, he could have
He's
been
got
biggest
there's no
superstar
excuses
ever, dude. You know that, right?
No excuses. Oh, he would have been huge. He would have been he especially when his time to strike was, they had just lost everybody. They were scrambling for a new star, and he could have been that guy. He could have been that top guy for Vince. Yep.
Not even.
And he just couldn't get his shit together. Simple as that. And he still can't. It's
tragic,
terrible,
dude. It's tragic. Anyway, let's move on to
Uh-oh. Patreon begins to purge fan art of characters below a certain height and bust size. Now, I agree with the last part. How short are we talking?
Okay, no. Let's. This one is a bit for me because I agree and disagree at the same time. Because Patreon is definitely a woke company. They have gone that route, for sure, and they've been kind of purging things that they don't agree with. But however, Patreon has some interesting stuff. I've supported just normal artists on it, but you can't not see the amount of sex-based content on Patreon. It's just impossible
Yeah.
not to see it. It's right there in front of you, right? It's like the internet. You can't avoid porn. However,
That's for.
that's, I
A
guess
Fuzzed
so.
Muppet told me that once.
I suppose, yeah, fuzzy Muppets. But here's the thing. What they're alluding to here is the fact that people will create small characters with rather small breasts and simply call them an elf or something like that. But in essence, it's insinuating child pornography, is what
Yeah.
they're trying to crack down on. So, okay, okay, fair enough. End of conversation. The problem is that, once again, and I've talked about this before, they don't understand Japanese anime. Because you will see quite consistently in Japanese anime, girls have to be done cute. Even though she
Mm.
might be 30 years old, she looks like a kid because they must be cute. It's just the culture, right? It doesn't have
Mhm.
anything to do with child pornography at all. It's simply a cute factor. And some of these shows will have, I think they do kind of draw them a bit too sexy, even when they're like high school kids. But keep in mind, here in Japan, 16 is the age of consent in most prefectures. In Japan itself, the law of Japan is 13. But most
Right.
prefectures have upped that to 16 in modern age because it's a bit too much. We're not living in the 19th century, right? So you have those two factors are coming in. But things where they'll really sexualize a character, they're always older. They're not kids. So
Mhm.
this, I agree. Although I know what they're doing the reason they're doing it is to crack down on people they don't agree with. Because if you have an LGBTQ patron site that is doing something sexual with smaller people, they won't touch it. You know they won't. So
Right.
they're hypocrites anyway. But here's an example. Now, this girl right here, is she a teenager or is she, 45? You can't tell,
I don't know.
right? Because and this is all looking at Japanese anime and manga stuff is what we're looking at. And I know there's other stuff too. So I agree and I don't agree. What do you guys think?
Um,
Yeah,
I don't
Spider
know.
Gwen's not a kid.
I would say I agree with the in principle. I agree with it.
Sure.
Right. We don't need them sexualizing children, even animated children, things like this. It's just ew. Right. It's just gross. Do I need it? I don't think I need a more logical explanation than it's just gross.
Yep.
Uh, so I agree with that. The problem is, like you said, I don't trust Patreon one little bit. To one, levy this fairly, and two,
No.
to not have an ulterior motive. Now I don't know what it is, but I don't trust it. And the reason I don't trust it is because, like you said, if they slap on some LGBT whatever thing label to it, they'll probably look the other way on a lot of stuff they wouldn't look the other way otherwise.
Right. And
And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
and I think I can give you a little bit more information on that because there's a lot of stories I don't cover here because I just don't have the time, right? And I have to
Mm.
pick and choose, and I want things that are going to be interesting or funny or something like that. But there has been a kick amongst the rainbow community of late, where anything that is not LGBTQ, that is sexualizing, is, I guess, rape. They like that word. So
Mm-hmm.
they've been going after anything that is not LGBTQ, right? But if you're in the rainbow community, you can do whatever you want, it seems. But if you're not, it's just inappropriate, and they got to shut it down. They are literally the Protestant Puritans of the 17th century, literally. So unless it's gay, and then you can do whatever you want, right? So
No.
that's the problem. If it was across the board and Patreon said, "Look, we're not going to let you sneak in child porn, wink, wink. We're going to shut that down," I'd be like, "Cool, private company, you have a right to do that."
Mm.
And I would be completely cool with that. But we know there's more to this, and
Of course
also
there
the
is.
Japanese factor. I just think they really don't understand Japanese culture, because it's not about them being a child. It's simply a requirement that they must be cute. And you're right, Bill. Armoron is very safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's Asian cultures in general have these. I get that I'm obviously not raised in it, so to them it's not odd.
Mhm.
But they have where the West has odd hang-ups about certain things when it comes to sexuality. I think the East has odd
They do.
affections
They do.
when it comes to certain things about sexuality.
Yeah.
That if you're not from that culture, because it looks like straight pedophilia, right? Straight pedo shit. But then you go and you do actual research on pedophilia in like Japan, for instance, and it's not a thing.
No,
And when it is a thing, very, very rarely, they hang the son of a bitch.
they do.
So
Yeah.
it's like I'm
Proof.
I'm confused. You're confusing me, Japan. You're sending me mixed signals here.
I can explain it very easily. One, keep in mind, Asians are little people. They're little.
Yes,
right.
That's true.
I'm a fairly big,
They're elves.
tall guy.
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm 6'3", but I'm not a giant by any means. You can go out on any city street and see people taller than me every day, right?
Yeah, my best friend's taller than you.
Yeah. But however, over here, I am literally Gulliver,
Right.
right?
Just towering over
Yeah.
these dudes.
So, it is. They are little people. So that's one. Secondly, and I know you're not going to agree with it, and I'm an American, so I don't really agree with it either. And I've said this before, but for them, if they see something that is actually intended to be child pornography in an illustrated form, they will go ew. The vast majority of them, because they're actually quite conservative people. You got to go to Tokyo to find the real freaks, right? But they would be ew, but that would be the end of it, because it's not real. It's fake. It's illustrated. Therefore, they don't care. It's ew, but see, the thing is, the Asians really respect an individual's privacy. It's very important cultural idea over here. And the reason for it, I think, is very, very simple. See, we in the West, even though we've been under kings, and I'm going to mention the emperor because people don't even understand what that word means, but just use the word kings and even dictators. We've been under that forever, of course, but we've also always been free. We've always had the concept of the individual. We've always had the concept of revolution and things like that. Here in Asia, they've never been free, dude. They've been enslaved for thousands of years, and that's that. So privacy in that kind of setting where you don't really have a lot of freedom is very important, especially when they're stacked on top of each other the way they are. And therefore, if you're a weird, freaky person, keep it to yourself and good enough. It's just the way they are here in Asia. It's just the way they are. So they might be, ew, I don't want anything to do, that's creepy. But they're not going to chastise you in any way. That's your business. And when it comes to real life stuff, they will bust your ass. They will bust your ass. Because we do not have pedophilia trouble here. We don't even have rape problems here. It's very rare. I mean, like once a decade, and it'll be all over the news forever. Right? It's just not Asians.
Well, it's because you handle it. They handle it. They don't do this bleeding heart liberal bullshit that we can't kill people. Fuck you. Yeah, we can, and we should. Oh, yeah, rapists and child rapists should die. I don't care if that's an extreme position to certain parts of America. It's ridiculous that we even permit these people to breathe.
Yeah.
Period.
But and they do deal with that very harshly, and I think we all agree on that. But they don't play those kind of games, but also you keep in mind that as far as testosterone levels, Asian are the lowest of all human groups. They just are.
Yeah, it's bad. Real bad. It's
all
that soy they eat.
And I bet you, no, dude, I bet you that's a big part of it. I bet you it is.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Rice and bean eaters, rice and soy eaters, it screws up your testosterone and endocrine system if you eat too much of it.
And they've adapted themselves into it. So that's another thing that helps to keep away from that kind of problem. I mean, the most rapey people in the world. Am I allowed to say this on YouTube?
Uh-oh.
Saying it.
Uh-oh.
Huh?
Is it going to be who I think it is? Is it going to be who I think it is?
The people of the largest continent of the world.
Yes.
That I'll do that for YouTube's sake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
and
of
it's
course,
not
but
even close.
well, no, because it's not even close. But their T levels or their testosterone levels are way higher than everybody else, and that's why the
Yeah.
sex drive is just insane amongst them, and they have a real problem with it. Adrian has a question though. Chester, I'm a little late, so my question to this applying to characters that are aged up, characters that might be younger, but the fan art ages them up. I'm just curious if it says. I didn't read the article in that regard. I'm just talking about the concept of it. You guys can definitely go check it out. It's Unbounding in Comics. And read the article to see if it says I don't know, Adrian. I just know by looking at the art they have in here, and and I know what Patreon is doing because I've seen another article on it like a month ago or maybe 6 months ago now.
Mhm.
I thought it would be interesting to talk about because I agree, but I also disagree because I know they're hypocrites, and I think
Yes.
Japan needs a little bit of wiggle room in regards to it because we're not talking about
Cultural differences.
well
Yeah.
yeah, cultural differences, but we're not talking about the skibet type of thing. You guys would say hentai, I guess. They wouldn't use that word here. But creepy sex stuff completely aside, just normal straight up anime. Those girls, unless it's set in a high school setting, which is more than likely what's going to happen, but even if it's not, they're not. They might look like it, but they're not kids. They're just not.
Right.
It's a cultural thing. So, but anyway, I'm going to move on from it. But it's
I have a little bit of good news that's completely unrelated. That just went through. Apparently, my governor just signed a bill
Mhm.
that allows teachers to carry guns in school
good.
as long as they pass a 24 hours of training.
No,
So
they should
that's
carry
good.
guns. Why shouldn't they?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's a
I
smart
agree.
solution. It's
I
an
have a
easy
much.
solution.
I won't get into it here. Maybe I'll do it Sunday. But I have a much longer form solution to this problem that doesn't require anybody who hasn't harmed anyone to give up their firearms or be restricted in purchasing them.
Well, you know what the solution is? It's really simple. Everybody carry a gun all the time.
Well,
That
in
solves
fact,
the
let's
problem.
go one farther.
100% solves it.
Chester, let's go one farther. It's the only right to a direct piece of property granted under the Constitution. Why is the government not required to provide them?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But no,
See?
seriously, if you go look at statistics in places where the population is heavily armed, publicly armed, they're the safest places in America, dude.
Correct.
And of course they are, right? But if
Yeah.
people were allowed, in most, to be honest, there's been over the past decade, there's been a rash of states switching their policy on guns, and open carry has become quite common, actually. And
Ohio is full constitutional carry. You don't have to have a license. You don't have to have a training. Nothing. You can
Nor
carry
should you.
concealed anything
Nor
you
should
want.
you.
You can carry it.
That's right.
The only thing you're not allowed to have still, which is okay, I guess, is ballistic knives. You know, knives that fire the blade. Those are still banned. But
Why?
everything else, I don't know. Everything else is allowed.
Yeah, that's bad. That on principle that should be legal. But no, seriously, you want to solve these gun violence in America, which is a new thing. Let's be fair.
It
When we
is.
talk about schools, you just let the population arm it and actually encourage them to do so. Because if people
Yep.
walking around with even little Walter PPKs or what have you, if people have guns on them, you will have a very peaceful society.
Armed society is a polite society.
Damn right it is. But that's the solution in that regard. That's how you do with that. Anyway, I'm responding half-heartedly. I was requested to look at the hottest women
Oh,
in video games. Instead of
oh
doing it
my!
myself, I just found one.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, she's on. She's definitely near the top. The old Laura Croft, not this new shit. That
I
old
actually
shit.
don't mind the look of the new one, but whatever. Grimlock, are you ready for this shit?
Guys, be ready, boss.
We're gonna sexualize and objectify some ladies. You ready? Fake
Guys,
ladies,
be
but
ready,
ladies. All right, here we go. So number 15.
Oh yeah,
Now,
good old Blood Rain.
never played the game. Saw a very
Oh.
bad B movie of it though.
It's a bad B movie, but the game, especially
Those
the first
titties
one,
wouldn't.
it's pretty good. No, and those titties is real. Blood Rain is ultra sexy vampire. That's what she is.
Cool.
Sex, violence, blood. Like she's got all of that and more. Oh, I wish we could have video games like this
See,
again.
I like
I
those
wish we
size of
could.
boobies. Those are good sizes. I like them.
Yeah.
Amaran, no
Blood
offense.
Rain's sexy.
Yeah.
Blood Rain is a sexy lady.
She is. Let me see if I can blow this up so it's like, yeah, these ads. I don't think it'll work. The ads just they demand existence. Maybe not. Did I get rid of them? I did. Sweet. All right. So we got her, who I don't really know. I know this one quite well. Are you guys there?
Yeah, Jade Valentine. Jill Valentine. Yeah, she's not bad. I would put Blood Rain way above her though. I'd put Old Rain because here's the thing, right? So Jill, yeah, okay, she's hot, obviously, but she's not designed just to be like sex isn't really her main character trait.
No,
She
it's
just
not.
has that trait.
It's true.
Whereas Blood Rain, that's what you're buying. But
She
you're
is
buying
sexualized.
basically a form of softcore pornography. That's what you're basically doing. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Out of all the female protagonists that you can play in a game, I've probably enjoyed playing Jill Valentine more than any of them. In the Resident Evil stuff, or interacting with her. It's a pretty solid character, actually.
Yeah, she's not bad at all.
Yeah.
She's well written. A lot of the Resident Evil characters are better than that game franchise deserves. Like they've done some pretty good character work for a game about zombies, viruses.
Although the movies have a character that didn't exist in the game at all, so I don't know what they were doing with that. But
Yeah,
Mila Jovovich happened, baby. So alrighty, and that's just
Mila.
Yeah, the funny thing about Mila is she grew up and she was a model and she wanted to get into it and stuff. But she got married pretty soon and she'd been with her man forever. She got a bunch of kids. For as much of a sex symbol as she is, because she is, right? She's such a homebody wife.
Good.
Yeah, no, it is good, but it just boggles your mind because that's not what she's supposed to be. Damn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not as she is designed. She's supposed to be something more.
Yeah, but she's not. She's a mom. That's what she is. But sexy mom. Yeah, well, Grimlock, it's your girl. Chun-Li. No,
I would have her higher.
maybe.
I would have her.
Yeah, it's a fighting game though, so you don't get a lot of story in those things so much, right? As you would with other characters. But then again, this is the hottest computer game girl, so video game girl. So, no, you're probably right. She should be higher. I need to go grab another pack of cigarettes so you guys talk about Chun-Li for a second.
Yeah, the older Chun-Li, like we have here, where her proportions aren't grotesque. Yes, this modern nonsense is preposterous. She just looks ridiculous. The art is. I mean, I went on and on and on about it yesterday, but the art is just no thank you. But older Chun-Li, absolutely. I mean, she exists for a reason. She's beloved for a very specific reason. Them thighs don't lie. I don't like what they've done with the character lately in the last few iterations of her. She looks grotesque. She looks like some sort of creature. She doesn't look like a woman. And I don't like that at all. But older Chun-Li, the Chun-Li we grew up with, especially me and Grimlock, yeah, Chun-Li could get it.
I would like. It's a problem as of late. It's both Capcom and NRS when their first reveals on a lot of characters have been pretty bad, and some of them get better, some of them didn't. And like Street Fighter V overall did not have a lot of great character designs, especially with some of the classic fighters. If you think Chun looked bad in 5, you should go take a look at Ken. He was done horribly. I get doing stuff differently, but the last couple of games, fighting games, the art style has left quite a bit to be desired.
That's true. The 5 wasn't great. 4 was. My son was really into that, but he didn't. He had a lot of complaints about it. Were mechanical complaints actually. And the new one that's coming out next year, it just looks weird. The heads are
Yeah,
small. It's just odd looking, and I understand people's complaints because there's complaints across the board. Of course, they focused in on the Chun Li one, but it's not just Chun Li. They're complaining about everything.
No,
Did you?
yeah, there's a lot about. Like I said, it's really early because there were just so many leaks after the first trailer,
That's true.
and I don't know if it was somebody within. I believe it was somebody that was given like early access. I think it was like a streamer who was given early access by Capcom. They invited him to come in and take a look at what they was doing, and he ended up leaking it. And they just, you know, instead of doing what most companies did and pretend like it didn't happen, they're just like, well, we're just gonna roll with it and be like, well, since you've already seen it, let's talk about, this is what we're working
That's the
on.
way to
This
go.
is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that guy's a dick.
So
He just so you know.
yeah,
But he might save him in the end, though, because they're going to have to make some artistic changes. Because every
yeah.
character I've seen looks bad. We had the trailer that released the return of who's the American blonde there that for some reason they had a Belgian man play in the movie.
Guile.
Oh, Guile.
Guile, yeah.
Guile looks like, yeah, he definitely is looking Giga Chad.
Yeah, it's not
In
good, dude.
this.
And it's such a typical example of the Japanese thinking that Guile would be a cool American name. For fuck's sake, Japan. But anyway, let's keep moving down here. Chun Li's, you're right, she's too low. This is a character that is well known, and she is attractive. Although she's never sold as sexy, though she is a hardcore fighter. But I get it. Huh?
No, thank you. Yeah, let's just move on. No.
Next.
Mm-mm.
Widowmaker?
No middle maker.
Widowmaker, Overwatch. I don't even know this character.
No.
Why? Why?
What is it? What even is that?
Well,
What
no,
is Catherine?
Oh, Catherine?
Yeah,
If you've not played that game,
don't,
Catherine is actually she's
don't. This is a Japanese hentai game that actually was sold in the stores right on the shelves. So you know, here in Japan. And
It's actually a solid puzzle game.
Okay, I never played it, but I get it. She's attractive, and the game did make a bunch of noise when it came out because
Oh
it
yeah,
came out a long time ago. This is a pretty old game. But
yeah.
okay, I don't mind her being on the list, but I don't know. But this isn't a fighting lady. This is just video game character. So okay, fine. Well, we'll leave Catherine there, although I know it's not well known. Now, why? Please
Um,
help me. Why?
Mm,
Why? This is a character I've never heard of.
she's in the newer Mortal Kombat's. She's
yeah.
Johnny and Sonya's daughter. Um,
Oh, okay. All right, fine.
I mean, she looks better there than she does in any of the games that I remember. I don't remember this scene in any of the games. Maybe it is, and I just don't remember it. But I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pass on this one. I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I don't
She's
know.
in good shape. She's fit, but she's
Never
not. I don't
never
think
even
she's
heard of this
attractive.
character though. It's weird. All right. I'm gonna grab my coffee real quick, but that's definitely worthy to be on the list without question.
Yeah, good old Dead or Alive. You know, Dead or Alive likes to sell the sex. They have literal games about playing beach volleyball. Right? You see, Grimlock. They play beach volleyball in basically no clothing and with great jiggle physics. But the volleyball's the selling point of that game. Remember, the
I've
volleyball.
seen it.
Yeah. No, yeah, she belongs. Definitely. It's interesting that a lot of these are fighting games, though, even though, you know, Chester just wouldn't found one just with video games in general. But so far, we've had 3 now, I think. 3 fighting games. And we're only
Yeah.
to 9, I believe. So that's interesting. There's still a long list to go. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more Mortal Kombat ladies. I'm sure Katana will probably make an appearance. Um, yeah, no, she belongs. I haven't played Dead or Alive in a long time, but I used to like it back in the day. Back in the old golden age of gaming, in my opinion, that PS2 era, Dead or Alive was some good times. I like Dead or Alive. That was fun. But I've always been a fighting game fan. I'm not like a huge proficient at it or anything. There's people out there who, oh boy, the things they can make these fighters do. But I've always enjoyed, especially the Mortal Kombat. I've always liked Mortal Kombat. Fighters are fun, and yeah, she belongs. There may even be a couple more Dead or Alive characters who show up.
Yeah.
We shall see. But it is pretty broad because there was a time there where they made a lot of characters who were just straight. I mean, that's what they were for, right? These females, they were sex objects. So we'll see. I still say Blood Rain, old Rain herself, was way too high on this list.
Yeah, I think it's because a lot of us haven't played the game. That's probably why.
Yeah. You should. It's good. It's a good game. It's actually genuinely a good game. The first one, especially, it's a very good game.
But Kasumi and Mai from Dead or Alive certainly should be on the list. I actually enjoyed Dead or Alive probably better than Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. It's not my favorites though. My favorites are Darkstalkers and Killer Instinct. As far as fighting games, those are the ones I like the best. Darkstalkers, it just was such a good tongue-in-cheek game. It was funny.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of it. But yeah, no, she's definitely meant to be a pretty girl.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know this character.
I've never heard of Lollipop Chainsaw either, but damn.
Damn. Yep.
Yeah, if that's what her character model is, then she should probably be on the list. Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
not bad.
Yep, no arguments here. Grimlock arguments?
No, sir.
No, sir.
None.
Yeah, I don't know that you usually have a leather belt going with a cheerleader skirt, however, but
I ain't questioning it.
no.
Yeah.
It's just another process of getting to the meat. I get it.
That's true.
Yeah, I get it.
Anticipation makes it savory.
Yep. Mai from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters. Yeah, that's what I was thinking was King of Fighters. I apologize. Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, I don't know who this character is, but she is attractive. That's for damn sure.
Apparently, it's a zombie game. Oh yeah, Miranda.
No, that's
good old choice. Miranda.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Mass Effect. Really, Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 3, she's barely in it, but Mass Effect 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's a good choice. Not bad. Although she is drawn as attractive or wireframed, but she's not an overly sexed up character
though. Not really. I wouldn't say she's just there for that. Obviously, she looks the way she does for that.
Sure, but
she actually is a character. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she actually has reason to be there.
And honestly, this is not the best angle they should have found. Yeah, her chest is fantastic in the game, but her ass is where she's at. That's
fair.
That jumpsuit she's wearing, holy cow.
Yep.
Holy cow.
Yep. Very nice. So that's number 7. Let's see what number 6 is. I don't know anything about Final Fantasy. I couldn't say. She looks cute.
She is, yeah. She's very much there. She's the Cid of that game, right? Because all Final Fantasies have a Cid character, and she's theirs. And yeah, she's smoking. She's smoking. I don't know if I put her in the top 15, but again, I don't really like short hair on women, so
number 6.
Yeah, I would definitely want to put her there.
Yeah, no, short hair on woman. It depends on the woman's face. It works for some women. It doesn't work for others. It is a difficult thing to pull off. But anyway, I don't know this character at all. Grimlock, do you know this character?
I'm aware of her, but I did not play Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, I'm not.
Devilish, is that true? Did they really remove the Miranda ass shots from the remake of Mass Effect?
I bet you they did. Of course they did.
Jesus. For the love of God, how retarded do you have to be? Ugh.
Roger is rated.
Have you not paid attention?
Pixel ladies, nice. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, sure. Samus. Although you rarely see her this way. You don't see her this way. Yeah, she's
pretty much always in her armor. And I don't really find her appealing. She's thin, I guess. But other than that, she don't have much else going on there, in my opinion.
Just because she's a woman and she deserves respect. The Metroid's a great game series with an oddly deep lore.
Metroid. Yes, it does have a very deep lore.
Yeah,
it is very weird. That's ridiculous. They actually went in and took out the shots because they had a. I mean, they were gratuitous, but who gives a shit? Purposefully shot angles so you could get a nice, good look at her ass of Miranda in Mass Effect 2, especially. And they went and took those out. That's just so. It's so petty.
It is petty.
It's so. Oh, I'm not pretty enough, so I'm insecure. Petty bullshit.
Well, the
Nobody
thing
would
is,
have cared. Nobody who's buying that game, nobody who bought that game is going to buy that game or not buy it, the remake of it, because there's ass shots in it. That's just not. That's
it's
not reality.
stupid. Yeah, it is stupid.
Yeah,
But more important, you talk about the I'm not pretty aspect of it with a lot of these feminists we hear from. But the thing is, none of us are. The
sure.
beautiful human is super rare. They're very,
It's truly
very
beautiful.
rare.
Yeah.
Most of us are average, and when it comes to beauty, average, it's a strange thing because average in most every other thing in our human world is just fine. It's average. A 5 out of 10 movie should be just fine to watch because it's average, right? Now, sure, we want to see those amazing creations, sure, but a 5 should be a 5. Everything else in our world, average is just fine. But when it comes to beauty, it doesn't apply because average is not even average when it comes to beauty, right? And it's just the reality of it. So I don't know why don't get over it. The pretty girls are super rare, man. Boy, do
Be right
feminists
back.
hate that, man. They hate the women's for some reason. Let's go on here. Number 4, Grimlock, you with me? Okay, yeah, but why Triss though?
Mm,
I mean, I would go with
mm,
Yennefer, wouldn't you? I mean, series. I guess in the game that she is older. A start. Well, you get both. You get young and older, but because she's kind of for me, Ciri in the game, because she came in as a kid and she's kind of the Geralt is the father figure to her. I just never really saw her in that way. But why Triss over Yennefer though?
question.
It is a good question. I don't understand it.
I don't get it.
I mean, I wouldn't put like you know what I mean. I wouldn't put Siri on the list. Personally, some
Yeah.
people might, but and I don't mind Triss being on the list, I guess. But I don't know. I just figured that would automatically be Yennefer. Maybe she's next,
Maybe. We shall see.
and we shall see. What a great render on that picture, though. Look at the armor rendering going on here, dude. Really clean. Really clean. The armor is so much cleaner than the hair. Look at the pixelization around the hair. Why is the hair not as well rendered as the? Because look at that outfit; it's perfectly rendered. There are no pixel blur or anything like that on it. It's really nice. But the hair is a little pixelated on the edge, isn't it? Huh.
Yeah.
But
Just
it
a
is a
little bit.
great render. Look at that. Very nice. Number 3. Well, okay, I know who Tifa is. I know who she is. I don't know Final Fantasy, but I do know who this character is. I know people
Oh
are
yeah.
very upset that her breast size was reduced by 3% or 5%. It didn't seem
Mm.
much. People were very upset about the reduction in the breasts, though. Are you a fan of Final Fantasy guy?
Some of them. They've become more hit or miss over time. Like, back in the Super Nintendo days, they was considered, god tier. If you wanted, an RPG to play, Final Fantasy 3/6, then of course in the PS1 era you had 7, 8, and
Well, you had cutscenes with her and
trying
stuff
to
like that.
remember if trying to remember if 9 was on PS1 or PS2. But oh yeah, basically like 6 to about 10 was like Final Fantasies, you know, some of their most recognized works,
Sure, no, that's true.
or at least most acclaimed works,
That is true.
rather.
That is true.
Um,
There is a new one coming. Hopefully, it'll be good and people will enjoy it. But other than the MMO debacle of 14 that they went and fixed, and good on 'em for that, 15 didn't go over well. But but all right, and they are remaking 7 or 8. and they did part 1, and they got other parts coming. So yeah, no, she's attractive. I get why she's on the list 100%. I just don't know the game. All right, let's go down here to number 2, Lara Croft, then the new one, not the original. No, I know Thundera doesn't like her, and she's not particularly pretty, and she was drawn not to be really actually pretty because she, don't look at her. What are you doing? But her body and some of the shots you get with her, I actually prefer this body over the original Lara Croft. But why in the hell would this list have this Lara Croft and not the original Lara Croft? Is the question. You know what I mean?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Other than they was possibly trying to make a point.
I guess they were, because obviously the original Laura should be on here, not this one. But whatever. Let's see what number 1 is.
Bayonetta?
Bayonetta. I've never played this game. Of course, I know the character though. People seem to enjoy the is an action game, shoot 'em up. And she is sexy, and she's supposed to be.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
she pisses off the feminists by merely existing.
She does. Yeah, she's
in
got
spite of the
good
fact that she was created by a woman.
Was she?
So that tends to get completely ignored.
I agree, Adrian. This list is dumb. How in the hell is Yennefer not on this list? Huh.
I don't know.
And what
there's
about
some. I got.
what about
I have
Morgana?
some questions.
Where's Morgana? What about the cat girl?
Felicia and Morrigan.
Yeah,
I would
Felicia.
definitely put them up here.
Absolutely, dude. How about Cammy? Where's Cammy? Where's the love for Cammy?
There was a lot of picks here. Like I wouldn't have. Not to say that she doesn't look good. I wouldn't have put Jill on this list at all.
No, well, I don't mind that. I get it. Let me see if I can find a better looking list here, because I don't agree with that list at all. But I think we're going to just get nonsense, and they're not even bothering to show pictures here. Okay, fuck off. Let's see here. Game Grin. I don't know who.
All right, I'm back.
All right. Bayonetta was number 1 on that list, and they had the new Lara Croft, not the original.
Well, that's
Lulu,
retarded.
okay. Morrigan from Dragon Age, no. No. Maybe. No. No. Fuck off.
Apparently, this is men and women. Yeah.
Well, no, this is woke. Clearly, Cortana, maybe. No, fuck off. No, fuck off. This is a gay site.
Wow, that is a disgusting person.
It's a gay site. Let's see here. List fave. Trying to see if anyone has any common sense these days. You're not going to load? No, you don't want to load. You don't exist.
There you go. Top 10 sexiest female characters. That one right there. Yeah.
For some reason okay. You're being slow. All right. Rain, sure. Jill Valentine.
Yep.
Soul Calibur, sure. Alex Vance.
No. Get out of here.
Dead or Alive, girls, in general.
Just
sure.
Dead or Alive in general, okay.
Tifa, okay, fine.
Tifa, yeah.
Samus,
Tifa. I don't get the Samus thing. I just don't. She's not sexy.
I like Samus, but I wouldn't put her on this list.
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't put Joanna Dark on there either.
No, Morgan, abso-frickin-lutely, and Lara Croft, the original.
There you go. That's proper.
It is a better list, but Morgan definitely has.
I'm shocked that in both, unless I wasn't here for part of it. Was Katana or
nope,
Jade or Sonya on any of those lists? See, this is how you know these were made by younger people, probably.
And clearly, yeah.
Because Katana's old model, which Jade has the same exact model. That was nice. That was very nice. It's shocking to me, and especially if you're going to use Tomb Raider and you use the new one, no.
Well,
she's too normal. I've seen that girl. I literally see that girl all the time. She just looks like a regular girl. There's nothing super sexy about her.
You know what this means, though. You know what this means. I have to go do it myself.
Uh-oh.
Damn it.
Uh-oh.
Always with you people.
You
do nothing
people.
Right.
What do you mean, you people?
I mean, you people. Okay, here we go. This one's a winner.
Oh boy. I like how they changed the name of that movie after it failed. That's hilarious to me.
Did they?
Ghostbusters Answer the Call star Leslie Jones to lead gender-swapped Plastic Man adult cartoon for HBO.
Don Adams and
Oh,
Chapman is
Chat,
great.
don't you dare say I don't do anything for you. All right?
That's hilarious. Yes, you know what? I want this.
Yes,
I want
me
this to
too.
happen.
I don't. I can't stand that, but
I only want it to happen because it's going to be an absolute trash fire,
It
and I
is
want
gonna
to
be
watch
bad.
it burn.
The
How
power
come
Christ
Alive is
commend
absolute
ye.
trash, right?
She's such a stereotype of a black lady.
They want to talk about minstrel shows, and they let this bitch walk around unharmed.
But she
So,
is such a stereotype.
Goddamn
She is.
disgrace.
Well, no, she's Hollywood's image of a black woman, right? And
She's
you know,
white liberals' image of a black woman. They
yeah,
love that
exactly.
shit.
Yeah, they do, because she's
'Cause I don't
so
know
cliche.
nobody who likes her other than white liberals.
Yeah,
And they only do because they're told to, right? They
No,
only do because
no,
they think
they
have
really
to.
like country bumpkin bitches like her. I mean, if they could literally put her in like if they could have put this Sambo looking bitch in some dusty overalls and just have her
Ooh.
spitting watermelon seeds wherever she goes,
Ooh.
they'd have her do it too.
Alrighty then. But here's the question I have, other than we don't need anything more than the headline, really. But you know, the thing is, why? Why in the world
Because they
would
think
you?
that kind of shit's funny.
Well, but I mean,
That's what the Nora said.
it's Plastic Man, dude.
Yeah, and the sad thing is,
His name
Plastic
is
Man would
Plastic
be
Man.
Plastic Man would actually be the kind of movie they're looking for because they so desperately want to copy James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, and Plastic Man would actually be the perfect character for them to do it with. But just to show how they just can't stop being stupid for 5 fucking minutes.
No, they can't.
Nobody's gonna watch that.
But it's
I'm not
literally
gonna.
Plastic Man. And he's such a dude character anyway. Gail Simone tried to have him do a transgender thing too.
Yeah, we know, but they don't realize outside of their little white liberal circle, nobody likes Leslie Jones.
Well,
I remember.
yeah.
No, Chester. Seriously, they had. I think there was some. It might have been around Ghostbusters. They invited her to Inside the NBA, which is like the most popular sports show still on TV. And that
on
night,
BET?
you went to the freaking on TNT. No,
That was a joke.
Yeah, TNT. I know, but I don't watch BET. I'll explain my reasons for that later. But
Thundera didn't even give me a chuckle. I'm quite disappointed.
No.
But
you're not getting one.
God damn it.
No, she was up there and she was just being her loud, obnoxious self in the comments. It's like, could somebody please get this obnoxious bitch off the TV?
Right.
It was like that was 90% of the comments. Was could somebody just please get her ugly ass off freaking TV?
And to be fair, I'm not in America. I don't even know who she is. The only thing I knew was I don't know any of the ladies in that movie. The only one.
She's one of the worst members of Saturday Night Live that's ever been cast.
Well, Saturday Night Live is often bad. But all I know is of all those supposedly comedian ladies in that movie, the only one that got a chuckle out of me was her.
Why?
And it was a chuckle because it wasn't a full belly laugh. It was the chuckle. And this person, you really want us to buy your shit, huh? Okay, dude.
Jesus, how do they keep getting around this shit?
Well, they just they're changing their name on Google and coming in and doing it different.
That's
but
dumb.
I don't know why you're wasting your time, and maybe it's a bot that does it automatically. But what's
It
the
is.
point? Yeah. But this is ridiculously stupid, and I want this. I want this because it is going to be pure comedic material. Laughing at
I want to laugh at this. I want to laugh at these people. I'm tired of taking them seriously. It's time to just mock them relentlessly until they end up alone and miserable like they're going to anyway. sitting around drinking massive bottles of wine in their tiny little apartment they pay way too much for,
Full of cats.
with no friends and no family, and nobody who loves them, because that's where they belong.
I guess that's what they desire for. Because another thing comes to my mind, because I just thought it was hilarious headline. I'm like, of course they are. But here's the thing: these actors or actresses, they keep taking these roles. They know it's going to be controversial. They know they're going to get a lot of shit on top of them, but they keep taking these roles. There's no way with her accepting this that she knows she's not going to catch a freaking avalanche, dude. She
Yeah.
knows. But why does she keep doing that?
There's no such
And
thing as
others.
bad publicity.
I don't know. She enjoys complaining, I guess, but this is going to be an absolute train wreck, and it's going to be beautiful to behold. So moving on to another thing that is an absolute train wreck that I want to see. I desperately need this in my life.
What do we got? Let's see it. Lady Gaga rumored for Joker 2, possible as Harley Quinn. Oh joy! Let's
No.
ruin something else
No,
that
I
was
need
good.
that. I need this. I want to see how hard Lady Gaga is going to tape up her old aging body. I really want to see it
Ugh,
because she's
I
way
don't
past it, dude.
at all.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be absolute disaster. Lady Gaga is a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't want to see this at all. I'm hoping it's just nonsense. It probably is.
Yeah, especially
That
Cosmic
first
News,
Joker movie is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. Is one of the best performances I've ever seen. So I have no desire for it to be ruined by nonsense like Lady fucking Gaga. She's if you can encapsulate everything that's wrong with the music industry in one performer, you won't get a much better example than her.
There.
And
this is our Harley Quinn. We're gonna get. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
no,
I don't know. I think you could probably put 4 or 5 people on that list.
Yeah, absolutely. But she's right near at the top of it.
Well, because she's not
I
an
have no interest.
actress, right? She's not an
Yeah.
actual actress. If she were someone who had actually acting ability, then I wouldn't see it as humorous as I do. But because it's ridiculous, because this movie right here, this movie was actually quite good, and it was a serious character study. It was not a joke. It was serious business, and they hit it. They hit it. And Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. I mean,
Jesus.
bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
They've just
All right.
ruined Harley Quinn so badly.
I don't like Harley
What
Quinn
is
at all.
uh,
You dealt with it, okay? Yeah, no, this person is you're putting them in timeout. I actually just hide them on the channel.
No, I didn't put him in
You
timeout. I
hide
hit him.
them, yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what this. Why bother? What's the point, dude? But I just thought this was hilarious because in no way does this creature stand next to Joaquin Phoenix.
No.
No.
I don't think they're stupid enough to do that. That would instantly kill this film for most of the people who are going to go, who would actually have a lot of hype for it. Maybe normies will fill the ranks up, but I don't know, man. All I know is that movie wasn't supposed to be anywhere as successful as it was, and if they start doing weird corporate shit like this, the second movie will be the last one that they get a chance to make.
I actually agree with Elrod on that. I don't know that we need a second one. I think it was just
No, it shouldn't have
good
been.
in what it was. You can use him as a cameo here or there, maybe, but I don't think you need a second one. I think it was just perfect as it was. And once again, keep in mind this is Cosmic Book News. These guys are full of shit. But I just thought it was hilarious because I just can imagine her taping herself and make-upping herself to the nth degree to try to make herself look 20 years younger.
No, but she's not even that. She doesn't even like. If you just go by the face of what Harley Quinn's face is supposed to look like, she's not even close. At least.
Are you saying Jews are ugly?
No, I'm
is.
just saying, like, I didn't care much for Margot Robbie's portrayal, but at least she was in the ballpark.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's smoking in that movie. She's smoking.
Yeah.
But no, that's a sexy little girl right there. However, Harley Quinn as a character sucks. She's a psychiatrist. Fuck
Yeah,
I
I've never
I
been a
like
huge Harley Quinn fan personally.
I like her pre New 52.
No, I don't
New
like Harley Quinn at
52
all.
on.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a useless
I
character.
did because at least Paul Dini and Tim gave her a. They made her an actual character. She wasn't just
Fair enough.
wacky sidekick. She had an actual there was an actual character to her. You could see layers to her. Now
But
you
she's not a
may not
fighter.
care for them.
Yeah,
No, she's not that.
that's what bugs
But
me. What they do with Harley Quinn is making her a fighter.
well,
That's what
that's
bothers me.
post New 52, post
is. You're
New
right.
52, where they decided we're going to make Harley Quinn our version of Deadpool, no matter what.
Yep. Let's
And
move on
completely just ruined everything about her.
It did. No, that's fair. When she was just Joker's girlfriend, she was much better. But
Yeah.
crazy girlfriend. But moving on from this silliness into actually, please gimme. Yes, thank you.
Neil Patrick Harris joins Doctor Who as a villain. Nah, I'm good. I have no desire to watch
Nobody
anything
gives a
Doctor Who
fuck.
related.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
I know that
Okay.
it's dead, and I'm probably not going to watch it. But Neil
15
Patrick
years
Harris,
ago? Yes.
yes,
I'd have loved every
yes.
second of this.
But
But
Neil
now,
Patrick
no, they killed it.
is
They killed
really
it.
cool when it comes to what he does in roles, dude.
He's a great actor.
I love
No
Neil
question.
Patrick Harris. His
No question.
his Doctor what Doctor Destructo? Is that what it was called?
I think so.
Yeah, just go find those little clips. Freaking hilarity, dude. You go Neil. I'm not gonna watch it either, but he's perfect for a actual Doctor Who villain. He's perfect. If we
Yeah.
had David back in the David Tennant days, and he was a villain that David Tennant had to deal with, oh my god, dude, it'd be freaking awesome. Because he can pull this campy stuff off really well. But I
No,
just
he
saw,
can.
yeah,
He has great range as an actor. Like I said, if it wasn't for what they're planning on doing with Doctor Who, again, they have decided we're just going to make it even worse. So they're just going to make it even worse.
Dr. Horrible.
No,
Thank
I'm
you,
good.
Devilish.
I'm
Yeah.
good. The moment that they turned Peter Capaldi, and it really started with Matt, but they really did it with Capaldi. They had sold Capaldi as he was going to be a fierce doctor. He was going to be like the second Doctor. He was going to be much more aggressive, much more very okay with violence, or at least much more okay with violence than the other doctors were. He was seemingly okay with killing people as long as that person deserved it. Stuff like that. That's how we were sold on Capaldi's Doctor. What we got was a simpering little cuck bitch.
Oh, it was
who
horrible.
Followed around a girl half his that looked appearance-wise looked half his age. It was pathetic. It was grotesque and disgusting to watch. And both my wife and I just stopped watching it. We were like, we do not want to watch Clara Who. We didn't want to watch that, and then it just got worse from there.
Yeah.
Just got way worse.
That was the soft reboot for Lady Doctor is what Capaldi was. That's the whole.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason it was there. It was premeditated, dude.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate because most people aren't going to watch this because everyone has the same attitude. Fuck Doctor Who. Yeah, unfortunate. But this is an epically clever idea for Doctor Who, though. And yes, it is Dr. Horrible. And if any of you guys in the chat haven't seen Dr. Horrible little clips, go watch them because he's freaking epic. This is back when the YouTube was, well, kind of newish, and he was getting in on it, and it's funny, dude. It's really, really funny. But I do like me some Neil Patrick Harris. And here an interesting thing. Now, someone will probably correct me. But this is an actual gay man that has been open for a very long time. He's been with his partner for a very long time, which is rare because gays tend not to stay together very long, but he has. He shows up in little things that I like sometimes because one of the things you might not know about Neil is he absolutely adores woodworking. It's his hobby. And I watched some woodworkers, and he actually had a guy come and do some work and interact with him on the show. It's kind of neat that he's also into that. I'm a fan of Neil. And also, the correcting thing, I don't know that, and even though he is a gay dude, I don't know that I've heard any noise out of him, though.
I'm sure there is some, but I haven't seen it.
He seems to value his privacy.
Yeah, he's just a dude. He's just a normal dude. Because can't think of anything I've heard from him. He's just living his life, doing his thing, and maybe it's because he's older and he understands that, he wants the fans to like him,
Hmm.
right? I mean, because
He enjoys
obviously,
being liked.
yeah, I mean, and that's kind of actors used to kind of value that. They used to, because obviously he's going to be a supporter of the rainbow, whatever. I mean, well, he might not go to the extreme though. But obviously he's going to be that, but he just doesn't make noise. But although I have heard, and we've talked about it, Ben even talked about it on here a week or two ago, where, and I mentioned it as well. There are a lot of people who are actually in the rainbow community who are not pleased at what's going on
Yeah.
at all. They don't agree with a lot of this nonsense. But
They got to speak the fuck up.
they need to, because them and women need to start speaking out actually a lot more, because the rest of us there's not much we can do beyond just simply going to war, and that's kind of an unfortunate choice. But
Well,
however,
it's also them talking out of both sides of their neck. It's 1 minute. We don't need men, strong, independent women, and all of this, and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, they start losing ground in the shit that they want. Then all of a sudden, it's save us, Kunta, save us.
yes, Kunta, yes. For those of you who
What do you
don't know that
mind?
reference, he's talking about Kunta Kinte, and he's from the TV series Roots, which is lauded as being amazing. But if you go and watch it, it's kind of
It's also fantastic crap.
yeah,
This
yeah.
is not historically accurate. It is more myth than fact.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like The Color Purple. That's another one was like, oh my
Very,
god,
yeah, oh,
black people in a
yeah.
movie. It's amazing. 10 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just understand The Color Purple and all the bullshit hype it got gave us Oprah fucking Winfrey. Okay? Just understand that.
Yay! Just what we needed.
Yeah.
Pizza the
Now,
Hut in her original form.
that is a tyrant. That woman is
Oh yeah.
tyrannical, dude. But anyway, moving on. I apologize, Neil, because you're awesome, and I would love to see you in the role, dude. Because I know you're going to be epic. Just look at the picture. It's going to be
Yeah,
good,
he's
dude.
gonna do good.
It's going to be good. But anyway, oh well.
You know what he looks like in that picture? Toy maker.
He does. He does. And that's what I was thinking of. Please give us a toy maker right there. There you go. And he loves doing these kind of, schlocky kind of things. He enjoys it, right?
I
And
say ditch Doctor Who and just be toy maker.
yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. But anyway, moving on from it, I just saw that and I was like, yes, baby. Mhm.
Oh boy, here we go. Marvel reveals why Jane Foster is cosplay Thor once again.
Okay. Now,
Another.
do I need to read any single word of this article? Any single
No.
word?
No.
No. Why is Jane Foster once again, who's supposed to be dead, is once again Jane? Why is Jane Foster the mighty Thor? Why? Why is she? Why? Someone tell me.
Someone
Again.
tell you. It just. I think you know why.
Yes,
You know full well.
I know full well.
One, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit, say because of the movie. But the
Yeah,
real
that's
reason,
the reason. Yeah.
the deep reason is because they have wanted this to replace Odin's son forever.
Yeah.
And I bet you what they're hoping happens is that the movie's successful enough that they can get away with it now.
Maybe that's possible because he's technically missing, thought dead, and Odin
Yeah.
says, "You are the real Thor anyway. Go save my stupid son." That's what they say
Yeah.
in the comic, So she has to go save him because he's stupid. Yeah, fuck off, Lady Thor. It's
so dumb.
Dumb. You
So
have, you got Sith, you got Valkyrie, you got his mom, and there's so many other Asgardian ladies. If you want to have a lady, go pick one. Get us some Freya, get us some Myr, get us some Mab or what have you. There's Morgan or what have you. There's so many of the Celtic Nordic goddesses that you could bring in, dude. Go right ahead. Why do we have little lady Jane Foster? What's the point of it? And then the idiots, because of the stupid ass movie, they went and broke Mjolnir, and then they restitched it back together, even though it still looks broken. By the way, let's take a look here. I'll show you a picture. If you haven't been reading the comics, see it? It's still broken, busted. They don't have the picture, but they do have this. You can see it in these little pictures here. And it's, oh God, these people suck, man. And they think because they have Tur and Gröbik in doing the writing that you can't have anyone doing a Nordic or Scandinavian story unless they are actually Nordic. So Thor and Gronbek has been brought in because he's the right race. You see, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Well, if he really, actually cared about his heritage, he wouldn't tolerate this
Well, I'm sure he's
nonsense. But
Swedish, and he's one of those ones
yeah,
that likes taking objects in his butt from superior women.
yes, yeah, it's disgusting to me.
But
Aside from being a Thor fan, it's disgusting to me in principle that they think this is acceptable. They only think it's acceptable. You notice they only think it's acceptable with the white male character, Jester. They're not going to do this with our boy Black Panther, right? They're not going to have somebody be T'Challa. They're not going to come up and be like, yeah, this white chick is T'Challa. That's her. That's him now, right there.
There you go.
T'Challa was some kind of trans this whole time and just became a white chick.
There
it's
it
fine.
is.
They're not going to do that. We all know it. We all know they're not going to do that shit. But Thor, they can get away with it because he's a straight white character and a literal masculine icon in the West.
And this is even more so simply because there's real world implications. I know Stan had this opinion, and I'm sure other writers of Thor have had the opinion. You have to kind of tread carefully with Thor. You have to make sure it's very fantastical and it's very comic booky, but at the same time not really messing with the character. Someone over at Marvel has forgot the rule when it comes to Thor, because there are literally millions of people who worship Thor still. And this is equivalent to them as you messing with Jesus and turning him into a lady for a Christian. And the Christians take a lot. Let's be fair. The whole turn the other cheek aspect of Christianity, charity, which is one of the best parts of that faith. They're pretty good at turning the other cheek. But do you think they would stand for a AAA comic company dropping Lady Jesus? I think you would get an uproar. I think that would be.
I don't know, man. There wasn't much uproar from the Christians when Netflix did Gay Jesus.
Yeah, but that's Netflix. It's not Marvel, dude. It's an American institution, dude. Maybe. Marvel, right?
It was the Brazilian Muslims that had the biggest outcry about that because Jesus is more important than to just Christians. Islam reveres him as well as a prophet. They take that seriously. So, yeah, no, I don't like it either. I think there's no reason to bastardize characters of that ilk, right? Like say a Jesus or even a Muhammad. I don't have any respect for Islam, but I have respect enough for the principle of don't mess with somebody's faith like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick on Muhammad. I mean, what's the point? Yeah. We can complain about
what do I get from that? Right? What do I get from that?
Leave it alone, dude. It's not there's no reason to be rude in that way. Those people were Stan Lee, Kirby, and Walt Simonson. You're right, Elrod. But there's a certain rule at Marvel when it comes to dealing with Thor, and I think they handled it well enough. Even though there's always been complaints about it from Scandinavia and Germany and stuff, but I think they found that line. But someone forgot the rule over here, obviously. But here's the thing, though. I don't talk about these things very much, but you do realize. No, you don't realize. But to inform you, I wear a Mjolnir.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't do it because Thor and comics. It has nothing to do with comic books, right? Because one of the things that people don't understand about the Scandinavian quote unquote gods. We have in much more recent times in the West, outside of Scandinavia, we have basically turned the Scandinavian gods into the Greek or Egyptianized version of them, right? Because you got to understand, there was a period of time where we went from pure animism, which is just humanity, right? Where animism is just simply everything has a spirit and it must be revered, and it's a universal religion. It doesn't even need to be spread. It's just something humans would naturally do, right? Show respect for the land. But then A lot of people think we went right to this allegory or fable, type of religion, where the gods are humanized, they're represent, and then their stories are basically teaching you life lessons and things like that. But in between that, there is a stage, a religious stage that I think most people aren't aware of, and it was actually what today we'd call Buddhism. And Buddhism is just the modernization of it. And it was created by this is the religion of the Aryans. The Aryan people, is during their migrations, they went, and it's probably because they were very nomadic at that time. They went from the animistic into the spiritual concept, and I think because they were very nomadic, and therefore the animism makes a lot of sense. But they started settling down, right? They established, Phoenicia. All right, they established
Hmm.
Mesopotamia. They established these city states where people actually had free time to sit down and chat about concepts. And in those chats, they started looking at it, using the human mind logically to say, well, what does it really mean to die or to live? And in those conversations, they came along with philosophy, right? And Of course, that stage kind of faded, and it went into the allegory phase of humanizing everything. But and we do that with the Nordic religion, right? With the Scandinavian religion. But it's not what a Scandinavian would do, right? Because they are
Mm.
not. Odin is not a man. Thor is not a man. They represent emotional human states, is what they do.
Correct.
And
Correct.
Therefore it's very much Buddhist, because understand modern Buddhism, there's no God in Buddhism. You are the
Well,
potential God.
that's one of the reasons why Thor is the god of thunder and war.
Yeah, it's the concept of
Because he's a
anger and wrath,
representation of exactly of wrath, of anger, of force, of
negative.
power.
Right.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that people don't understand about Mjolnir and the importance of it, and the reason why I wear a Mjolnir. And I'm being serious here. I'm not joking in any way. I know that's rare. But um, see, Thor represents all that's good in masculinity and what's bad, right?
That's right.
He is anger, he is wrath, he is bawdiness, he is rough raw sex. He's all of these. He represents the masculine ideals.
That's
But
right.
those masculine ideals have negative things to them, right?
Sure.
And Odin, which represents wisdom and fatherly understanding and protection and guidance, him, symbolically giving Mjolnir to Thor balances Thor and makes him complete, makes him a man.
Mm.
Mjolnir is the balance of wisdom upon raw masculinity. And the reason why Scandinavians, and me included, the reason why we wear Mjolnir is it's religious, it's spiritual. It's not religious, because, like I said, there's no actual God here. But what it's representing, that me as a man, I understand that I must control myself. I must apply wisdom to my life to be successful, but also to be honorable, and to live a life of integrity. Mjolnir is a symbol of this. It's the symbol of wisdom over the chaos. And when you
Right.
and that's why when you see a lot of men, particularly Scandinavian, Nordic men, Germanic men, you'll see them wearing the Mjolnir. Millions do. It's an actual spiritual symbol to them, because it represents their dedication to be a man, not a wild thing. So Mjolnir has actual value and meaning in life. It's not some little, keychain
Right.
that you got at a movie you saw. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's an icon. It's a religious. It's a religious spiritual icon.
It is.
Um. They. It's. That's why I think I almost wish comic Thor didn't exist at all, because it gives
In some
them
ways,
carte
yeah.
blanche to do it to other things as well. Now you can say I don't think anybody, at least most people, probably don't care really about that. and especially about like if you use like the Greek gods or the Egyptian ones, even though there's still quite a few people who practice what they believe to be a version of Egyptian spiritualism.
Sure.
Yeah, that's very real. It's not a huge number, but they exist. You can find them on the internet and stuff.
Yeah, the allegoric animism religions are still around. Sure.
Yeah, but I just don't. I don't like it. To me, it's never. I don't think Stan was doing it out of anything other than he thought it was a cool idea.
Yeah,
genuine. I don't think it was malice or anything. But a lot of the people since haven't been doing it for that reason.
No,
they've clearly had some form of agenda, some form of malice, an intent beyond just, hey, this is a cool thing, let's do it. Mm-hmm. And that is why it's a problem. It's the intent behind it.
Yeah,
you can make a cool. Yeah, you can make a cool fictionalized version of just about anything, right? Like there's video games where you play Jesus and you go around and fight demons and stuff. Like that's kind of cool. Technically, yeah, it's technically under, most Christian dogma. They would probably consider it some form of blasphemy, but it's not done in a way of. It's not intended to be blasphemous. It's not intended to be shameful to the character in some way. Turning Thor into a mantle is literally taking away his identity. I don't know how that isn't supposed to be blasphemous to the character. I don't know how that's not supposed to be an attack on this character's concept itself. Personally, that's where the difference lies, right? And I think that's the problem with it. And it's one of the reasons why, like I said, I kind of wish Stan hadn't have created him at all.
Yeah.
Just because then it wouldn't have happened.
You never know, though, because he and Simonson, like we talked about with Elrod and Kirby, these are well-educated men who are actual men. They were all fought in the war. These are men, especially Kirby. And this idea is of the Mjolnir, as I explained, what it represents when you see someone actually wearing a real Mjolnir. That's not new. That's been around a really, really long time. Those guys might well have known that. It could have been part of their inspiration for all we know.
Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible.
And they were very keep in mind. Look at the design of the hammer, right? It's not an actual Mjolnir. And they made sure it wasn't, because it is a religious symbol. I don't know. I'm putting a lot of information on them that I don't know the truth of.
Unfortunately, Stan's not here to tell us.
No, none of them are.
And I think if you could ever, back in the day, if you could have sat down and talked to Stan about it, you probably would have had a very similar answer, that he did try to be sensitive about it as much as he could.
I know he was, but I'm just wondering how deep his knowledge was, because we think of Stan and the smiling guy. Yeah, Spider-Man, Marvel Comics, man, go read it. And he's such a great promoter. But those guys were very well educated. Stan
was a genius.
Was a smart
no question.
Man.
No question.
Yeah. So they might well have understood this, because, like I said, it's not new, and there are millions of adherents worldwide. I'm not even born in Scandinavia, and I'm an adherent, because I like the concept of it, because it's intellectual. It's not, it's not fearful, which most religions.
Well, that's what I think is a bastardization by people who want to use a lot of religions, have been used by people for nefarious purposes. Because they see that there's power there, like the Book of Eli, right? The premise of that movie is the bad guy wants the Bible because he calls it a weapon. He understands the power inherent in this book, in this indoctrination capability of what he could do. That's true, and I think that's true for any kind of belief that you can't fully rationalize or quantify. Even if you can, something you hold deeply. Right, a deep-seated belief can be dangerous, especially if you can manipulate the message of it and turn it into something else. But I think that one of the advantages that Scandinavian, the Aesir, and the adherence to the animism of it, or not the animism, but the belief of it,
spiritual philosophy,
Yeah. The philosophy of it is that most of the people, I would hope, understand that they're not worshiping a god
No, they're not.
in the physical sense, right?
No.
Like Christians do, right? They think God is real. They're worshiping. They're not even really worshiping. Worship's the wrong word.
And
They're
that's why I use the
communing
word
with something.
adherent.
Yeah, they're communing with something within themselves.
Yep.
Is the idea.
Yep.
And I say this all the time, Chester. I genuinely believe spirituality is just psychology or psychiatry or neurology, one of them, that we just simply don't understand. We don't have proper science on it. We don't have proper language for it to truly explain it in a way that's completely rational and logical in this world. So we use spiritualism and spirituality as metaphor to replace that, to stand in for it. And I think that's largely what a lot of those old religions were, and what they did. They just came up with new ways of expressing these things they didn't have the ability to express.
And you know what happened with the way, because that section where it was very philosophical because they started making cities and living in them and having free time, and
Yeah,
why it's shifted so quickly into because it's the same stories, same concepts because they're human concepts, right? And there's other reasons for that as far as culture sharing and nomadic aspect of whatever. I'm not getting into the whole thing, but the reason it switched so quick back into the more animistic, but becoming more mythological, more allegory based, is because to simplify it. Because one of the things that religion gives you that no one really talks about is every religion, especially after that time, gives you a list of things how to live your life. And this is something people don't talk a lot about with religion. It's always about, oh, Jesus or Muhammad or what have you. But it's not the point. It's about you should do this, you shouldn't do that. It's a list of things to live your life by. And that was, I think, one of the big the priests, because once again they had time to sit down and talk, right? And they made a decision. Well, for the general public, this is much easier to understand a simple set of rules than to because what you're asking with these old spiritual philosophical religions, which today is really exist in India and Asia and Buddhism and stuff like that, is for people to sit down and have a think on their own. And
yeah,
there's a lot of people that won't. So having an actual, here's a list of rules, and here's a couple of books you can read on how you should do this, this, and that. This is what you should eat. This is what you should do on this day and that day, etc., etc. I think that's why they did it. I mean, the practical application, I think, was that. But I'm going to move on from this. But I don't think I know. Well, I know that they don't understand the insult they're doing by putting the feminine on the ultra masculine. And they think they're doing it for one reason, but they don't understand the impact of it because, yeah, I've already explained why. But
yeah. They're attacking masculinity,
well,
whether
they're
they
they
know it or
are
not.
they're attacking a religious concept that
Yeah,
is intended to control. Because Mjolnir is not a hammer; it is
that's right.
wisdom. It is the wisdom
Right.
to be a man, and that is
It's
why
it's
Thor carries it.
it's literally why the enchantment is on the hammer in the comics, is to teach Thor to be wise.
It
What do you
is.
think worthy means, people? It means wise. It means discerning. That's all it means. It's all it's ever meant. Doesn't mean anything else.
And there's also it's deeper than this. Why is the haft in the stories? Why is the haft of Mjolnir short? Now we know because Loki was doing his normal mischief and all that, yada yada yada. But there's an
Mm.
actual spiritual, philosophical reason for it being short haft, because wisdom is easy to lose the grip of, and you must be
Yeah.
reminded of that. Hold it tight,
Yeah.
hold it short, right? And
Brilliant.
that's the point. It is brilliant. It is brilliant. And therefore this is much more insulting to me than any of the other things they do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And
let's move
it's
on.
Chester. I just want you to know it's supposed to be. That's what their goal is
I
to
know.
piss you off.
I know. But let's go on to our last bit here. Just kind of look at what's going on in comic books a little bit, because we do that sometimes. We should do it more often, to be honest with you.
Mm.
But here is from Polygon, which I know
Good.
they're shit.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is that, Mr. Miracle? What is that?
Oh, he's black now.
What is
Didn't
that?
know that? Yeah.
Of course he is.
But the one in the center of the DC Monkey Prince is which is the comic they've been pushing here. It's very interesting.
Christ.
What are they doing with that? Because of course this is Son Goku. For the I mean I doubt you guys know the Chinese, but recognize the Japanese. Son Goku is the Journey to the West. It is the Stone Monkey. It is a very it is the most overly retold story in China, particularly.
Yeah.
Are they trying to sell comics in China? What are they doing here with the Monkey Prince? It's
I
weird.
don't know. I'm assuming that's the goal, the Asian market, specifically China, but really anywhere in Asia. Everybody knows that story over there. That's what I would gather is the goal, or maybe they're just trying to sell them to weebs. Maybe
Maybe.
maybe the target
I mean,
audience is just
maybe.
weebs.
Because our Americans got to bite on this goofy character because he's supposed to be goofy. He must be goofy. That's kind of the point. Because once again, a Stone Monkey is another life lesson. That's what the whole point of it is. It's once again because this is a philosophical religion, not a rules-based allegory religion, right? And Stone Monkey represents the folly of man, foolishness, and how he overcomes that. So but anyway, let's take a look here. But Spider-Man's big year, 2022 sees the big anniversary for two Spider-Man spider heroes. The ever youthful Peter Parker, dumb. We've already talked about that. Is celebrating his 60th anniversary, and Spider-Man 2099 is turning 30. So that means you can look forward to what Marvel calls a year-long celebration of the hero. Well, we're already in deep the year. Where's the celebration? We're halfway through the year.
Yeah, where's that, guys?
Where's your
I haven't seen
celebration?
much.
Where? I don't know.
Oh man, you want to feel old? Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was 20 years ago. Woof!
Yeah, dude. Yeah, this is a fun movie. Too.
Holy shit, man! Where did time go? Wow.
Okay, fine. Milestones season 2 and more. Grimlock, what is Milestone? Returns. Is this are we getting those heroes back? I see Static Shock there. I mean, I actually liked the imprint. I enjoyed it.
They made people wait 7 years to finally bring back Milestone. People begged fucking DC for 7 years. And what did they give us? Vita fucking Ayala writing Static.
Oof. We are getting a 1300
and
page
changing his
Milestones
origin.
compendium though. That's kind of
Yeah.
nice.
I would just rather DC just
stop
reprint the old shit, whether
they
it's
are.
trade
Right here's
or
compendium, right here.
omnibus.
That's what they're doing. The 1300 page
compendium. That's season 2. That's that current shit. I would not wipe my ass with their current Milestone. My ass is too good for it.
No, I think the compendium is the old stuff, dude.
I would hope so, but I think that because they're doing the way that they're doing the current Milestone stuff is season 1 and season 2.
Yeah, no, they are doing that currently, and that's unfortunate. But I wouldn't mind a Milestone compendium though. That might be fun. I did enjoy the book. I read several of them. They weren't bad, and the concept was fine. I mean, it was black creators, for black creators. It was cool.
Yeah, but it was their own. It was their own universe. It was original characters. Yep. It was everything these fuckers said that they wanted. That. Mm-hmm. And that is easily one of the most irritating things DC has done. Like for all the other shit that DC has done, the butchering of Milestone. After making people wait, because they teased people with that for years.
Right.
And that's easily, top 3 of DC's worst offenses in the last 5 years.
Oh, wow. Because there are many. But Static Shock was certainly the best character that came out of that, although I didn't mind Icon. I didn't mind him.
Yeah.
But Static Shock was certainly
that Black Superman that they keep saying everybody wants,
Right here.
He's right fucking there.
There he is. Yep.
But
This can go to hell. Yeah, go right to hell. Fuck off. I don't care why the Elektra is Daredevil. I could give a shit. I ain't reading it.
Murdoch's still in jail.
Oh, whatever. I don't know what they did with this, but I've been noticing it for a while. But I ain't reading it. I like
It's
Electra
part
Con,
of
but
it's. I know it's part of a story where like Wilson Fisk becomes mayor and Matt Murdock ends up in jail.
right, that's true.
I I mean I haven't followed that like much, so I didn't know if it was still going or not. Apparently it is.
And why is Craven alive? Why did they bring him back? I did a thing on Craven, so you know why he's alive and all the stuff behind him. But they should have. That's one of the characters should have been left dead. It was perfect. It was perfect. But anyway, fuck off. All right. Batman the Night, #1.
Eh. Eh.
Mm.
I don't know, man. How many more Batman runs do we need? I love Batman.
Well,
Don't get me
DC
wrong.
doesn't have anything else that's selling right now. They've
But
butchered everything
there
else.
is too much Batman. It's too
There is
much.
too
There's
much.
too many
It is.
variations.
It is.
It's
And this is
nonsense.
young Bruce as well. But
It,
how
it,
about
Again-
it is, but hell, you can't do Superman because they wanted a Rainbow Skittles Superman, and nobody wants to buy that bullshit. Wonder Woman hasn't been good in years.
no, that's fair.
One of the books I heard was really good in Hawkman, but apparently nobody bought it.
Yeah, but they don't know how to. No, Hawkman wasn't bad. They don't know how to write Wonder Woman because she is a strong woman, but she's also a woman.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to write that. To be honest, back when they created Wonder Woman and they did create her to be a feminine icon, that was the intention. However, I don't know that they ever really wrote her as she should have been. Because if you take a woman from that culture where she would be loud and difficult in reality. But they didn't write her that way. She's wise. She has the wisdom of what is it, Athena? Whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
However, Gian Domenico is a really good artist, though. I love his style. It is pretty stuff the way he does it. Anyway, Mr. Miracle: The Great Escape. Varian Johnson and Daniel Isles take on Scott Free in DC's newest YA release. Of course, it is YA, making them as big two talents to watch. While you might be most familiar with DC's mainline releases, over the last few years, the publisher has been putting out some of the most exciting and fun graphic novels under their young reader line. Have they?
Why are their YA books always the same shit art?
It is shit art, dude. Yeah, because kids don't deserve good things, I guess. This apocalypse set story focuses on a young man, Mr. Miracle, who has to craft an ingenious plan to escape Goodness Academy and the fiery landscape of apocalypse to save himself and those he loves. And of course, they didn't mention once the gender swap, or excuse me, the race swap here on that. But you go, YA.
That looks generic as fuck. Like, why? If I'm 10 years old, why would I want to pick that up?
I don't know. Like I said, they only offer crap to kids, so I guess
Because
they
they
can push them into a corner, I suppose.
because they swapped the race. So obviously that should be all you care about. What
That's
are you,
right.
some kind of bigot?
That's all that matters. It's the only thing that matters.
Yes, I am,
Yes.
and I'm proud of it because I choose to be.
Although he looks like he's from Philadelphia, which is a problem.
West Philadelphia, born and raised.
He looks like a black stencil you found on some Adobe art bullshit.
It does, yeah.
Like,
oh well, let's move on from this. I'm sure that's going to sell like hotcakes. Silver Surfer Rebirth #1 January came out. 90s Silver Surfer icon Ron Mars and Ron Lim. Mars on the Ray book too? Anyway, reunite for Marvel's most recent throwback. Just like the nostalgic creative team, the story will take us back to the Infinity Gem adventure of yore. The 5-issue miniseries will introduce the Silver Surfer as he deals with a reality gem resurrected Captain Marvel, and is forced to, because he's going to be the bad guy now, I'm sure, forced to team up with the Mad Titan himself, of course, Thanos, to reclaim the gem and stop any more cosmic chaos. Oh, and if you haven't read the original 80s, 90s Stellar Silver Surfer run, this is a harkening back to then this is a great reason to check it out. Well, sure, I'd read that over this, I would say.
Yeah.
Although I am pretty sure that was the dude on Ray, and I did like Ray. But why is Marvel a bad guy?
Why can the reality gem resurrect somebody?
Right, and why he died from cancer, man. Quit punching down. Okay.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
The whole premise is dumb. Sorry, Marvel, but that's stupid.
I do like this right here. Listen, go back and read this because
Yeah, go read that.
is
That's
good
great.
stuff. Yeah,
That's good times.
it is. Monkey Prince.
Here's this
number
nonsense.
one.
Yeah.
Monkey Prince is getting his own series, hitting shelves on Lunar New Year. It's not February 1st, dumbass. You dumbass. All right, sorry. I'm being culturalist. But Luen Yang and Bernard Chang, they went and got Asians to do it. Sweet. 12-issue series. The child of two freelance hench people. Okay. Marcus is a powerful shapeshifter. Why is he called Marcus?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Weird. Why isn't he Luo Qianqi? That would be a much better name.
Okay, so
I
he's
solved that
Monkey
problem.
Prince. He's clearly based off of Wukong.
Obviously, yeah.
The only thing this says is he's a shapeshifter. Well,
Which he is.
Wukong does shapeshift,
Oh, yeah.
yes, but he also does many other things. Many other things.
Well, he's a god.
Yes.
But anyway, could be good. I don't mind the art. It's definitely kid friendly. But I don't understand why it exists in DC though. But it could be good. Nothing negative to say about that. It's just odd. Do you think you're actually going to sell a comic book in China? Do you really think that? Yeah.
Good luck.
Iron Fist #1. It's the new Iron Fist. It's not Danny Rand anymore. He's Asian because he should have been Asian. Because how dare you? All right, moving on.
Yeah,
Yes, I
ridiculous.
Tales of the Amazons. It might be good.
Trial of the Amazon.
Tales of the Amazons.
It says trial, Chester. There are not five
Tales of
lights,
the Amazons.
Chester.
Okay. But I don't know. See, I thought it was kind of weird where they're doing the Wonder Woman and having all these different ones, but it could be fun because they're not Diana, you see. They're different. And I can get on board with that. Switching Diana to a black African lady is not a good thing. But adding another person who has been given powers like Diana, well, that's interesting. Maybe.
Yeah, but are they all supposed to be differing forms of Wonder Woman? Like,
No, they're
the
different,
name
separate
Wonder Woman?
people with the powers of Wonder Woman. Yeah, they're not Diana at all.
They don't call them Wonder Woman.
Well, I'm sure they have something Wonder Woman, this or that, but they're all individual women that are not Diana. They're not her. They haven't done that. They're not race swapping
Yeah.
here. They've done something different with it.
I don't like the mantle nonsense or
Yeah, no.
just multiple versions of the same character. I don't
I
like
get
it. Works for a couple characters,
get you.
but it shouldn't. Wonder Woman is Diana. That's
Right.
Wonder Woman.
Well, the problem they have, you see here, and the reason why the Tales of the Amazons has been made is because DC has its big three: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, right? But that's
Right.
not enough woman in the top three, you see. So they got to spread it out.
Of course.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. So it's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. There you go. Solved. The War for Earth 3. Okay, so it's a alternate timeline. We got Nightwing in there. God, fuck off with that picture. I don't care. Batman, Superman, World's Finest. Oh, it could be good. World's Finest is often interesting. But it's Mark Waid and Dan Mora.
Ugh.
Next.
Immortal X-Men. Do you like what they're doing with X-Men and the Hickman stuff?
When Hickman was actually in charge of it, yes. But the moment Jordan White put the F team on it, no.
I don't really know that I like it because I give credit to Hickman because he is a great storyteller. He's really good at thinking 20 years of time, literal real time in his creations. I appreciate that level of dedication and attention to detail. So I do appreciate Hickman in that regard. But I don't
Well,
like the idea with X-Men where they sit now, and the reality is that they can never win. They're always going to lose, no matter what. They are ultimately doomed to failure. So they basically said, fuck it, and gave up. That's really what Hickman did. I mean, to put it in a
well,
nutshell.
that was coming out of House of X Powers of 10. He had a 3-year plan, but as I said, Jordan White decided to let his work wives get a hold of the X-Men
Hmm.
books when none of them were qualified to get them, especially Howard and Ayala. And the moment he let them do it, that was it. Because it didn't take it. It literally took the first event post House of X Powers of 10 to see who had the influence in the fucking writing room.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have a 22 issue event that goes utterly fucking nowhere.
Oh no, of course, and that's why I mean it's stuck there because Hickman isn't continued the story, whatever he had in mind. But another thing I didn't like about this is Hickman's choice, is the fact that this Genosha Council, this mutant council, the majority of
Yeah.
it are bad guys, right? You don't get much more. You don't get much worse than Mystique. She's a true villain. You have Deacon Frost right there in front of you. For fuck's sake, you got Mister Sinister. The amount of horrible, nasty, evil things he's done to mutants, you would think that Charles Xavier would kill him on the spot, right? Emma Frost has done plenty of nasty things, but she's nowhere near as bad as the other ones. And Destiny herself is another real troublesome character. So why would
Yeah.
Hickman have so many villains in charge of the mutant world, particularly Sinister? He has done
When
horrible things to mutants over the years.
when they first put the console together, it wasn't.
It
That
was oh,
that's
this is
been
change. This is not
that's been a
Hickman's choice.
lot. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
When it first happened, yeah, there was some villains up there, but if that's the whole console now, it's changed a lot since it was
Yeah,
first up there because Nightcrawler was a part of that console. Gene and Scott was part of that console. I don't see them. I don't see any of those three there. Um,
yeah. No,
Storm
it's
is
weird.
Storm is kind of there, but she's kind of not because they're sending her off to Mars. So
They do because they have that whole thing going on with Mars that Hickman started up. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of bad dudes here that shouldn't be anywhere near that council, but particularly Mystique
no,
and Sinister. Those are really bad people. And
yeah,
it's weird, but whatever. So if you're into this nonsense they're doing now, I don't know, go ahead and read it. And then they have a whole bunch of other things. There's a comic called Sex coming. Let's get that one. Powers, I don't mind that run. Actually, Powers is pretty good. Um, Jack Kirby Silver Star, that's kind of neat. Bringing something back. Miniature Jesus, oh god. Why is Amber Heard on an Image comic? Stop it. Stop it.
Miniature Jesus. It sounds like somebody cast Danny DeVito to play Jesus Christ. I
I
kind
would.
of want to
I would
get
do
that.
that in a heartbeat. That would be hilarious. Jupiter's Legacy, good run. Unfortunately, didn't get enough love on Netflix for them. Gru, go read it. Why haven't you read Gru? What are you doing? Let's see. Hysteria. I heard that's good though. I haven't read that though. Chance, Saga. Saga started out really good, and then it became absolute lesbian feminist trash, which is unfortunate because it was definitely a more liberal book, but it started off really good, man, and it just went way downhill, dude. But
Right down the old rabbit hole.
it did, bad boy, it really did. But anyway, a Monkey Heat. I don't even want to look at it. Radiant Red. All right. Images. This is from Image. And some stuff in Image is good, some is not. Tokusata inspired. Okay. All right. Smash hit Radiant Black is expanding in Radiant Red. The new miniseries from Cherish Chen, nice name, David Lafuente, and Miguel Muerto centers on Satomi Shen. Why in the world does she have a Japanese first name and a Chinese last name? What are you doing? Middle school teacher by day, bank robber turned matter absorbing hero by night. Nice. Those dueling lives will be at the center of 5 issues. Arc of Satomi has to balance her work, family, and heroics in the face of grave threats and immense danger. I don't know. It kind of looks good. Sounds interesting. But why do I see recently? I've seen a lot of the Japanese Chinese melding. You do realize they really, really don't like each other. You know, my wife married a foreigner, and for the most Japanese, it's a little questionable. But because I'm a white American man, it's like the least impactful foreigner for her to marry. But for a man or a woman of Japan to marry a Chinese, dude. And the Chinese are probably more radical about it. But then again, they really,
Right.
really don't like their women or men, for that matter, marrying outside their race. They really don't like it. So why? But I've seen several examples recently. Why do they keep doing this? Why are you putting the Japanese and the Chinese together? What are you doing?
I would like to say it's just ignorance, but I never attribute to incompetence what's better attributed to malice.
Yeah.
So I'm going with some form of malice.
We're gonna solve their problems. We're gonna
Yeah,
marry them. Yeah, that's
they're
probably what
gonna
it
go
is.
fix them. They're gonna fix them like they did the blacks. Just
Yeah,
gonna fix them.
they have fixed the blacks. They have.
Yeah,
Now this is a Telltale Walking Dead spinoff with Clementine. I don't know if it's going to work or not. Yeah, moving on. Squire. It looks nice though. Look at that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that does look
it's
interesting.
an all history set in the Middle East, North Africa. Thank you. That'd be nice. Something set in a different place other than Europe. That's a good idea.
I like that.
It looks pretty though. I do like it. Mm.
Okay.
Wash Day Diaries. Ooh, no, you need to
Next.
watch. Would you like to read this one, Grimlock?
Oh God, why Wash Day?
Yeah,
Wash Day Diaries.
they're from the Bronx.
So
Is the Bronx the nightmare it was when we were kids?
yes,
Yeah. Okay, moving on. 2000 AD. Nice. Nice. Best of too. Sweet. That's worth getting. Get that. I heard we talked about this stuff coming. Get that. Go get some of it because that's there's some great stories in there.
200
Dwarven
page graphic
Quarterly.
novels.
What?
I'll
What?
take it.
Yeah, no, absolutely, dude. They've stolen something. I shall sue you. You shall be
Sue them
sued.
hard.
I will
Sue them
sue
with
'em.
all you
I will
got.
sue them. Short Box Comics Fest. God no. Alrighty. We got some Deadpool Samurai. Fuck off. Alice in Borderland. This is very popular anime over here, manga over here in Japan. So I've been seeing more and more touching on this. I don't know the story though. Let's see, Witch Hat LTR. Okay, whatever. And that's that. So I don't know, dude. Did you guys see anything? I know you guys want this.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
one I'm excited for. My
yeah.
PP can't even express to you how happy it is at the thought.
Tomorrow. You can get this tomorrow.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
And I should read it though. Jameel Rouser and Robin Smith, that's not black enough, expand on their award-winning mini comic Wash Day. What is mini comic? In this beautiful graphic novel from Chronicle Books, Kim, Tanisha, Davine, and Cookie. Of course, are best friends, and Wash Day Diaries follows them through their daily life in the Bronx over 5 interconnected short stories. Smith's
Mm.
charming and inviting art invites. Okay, comic book readers, old and new, to lose themselves in this joyful and touching celebration of Black joy. Mr. Writer, in English we have kind of a little rule. When you have one thought, we do not use the same words again. We do not repeat our words in a single thought. We
That's
don't
right.
do that, whether that it takes you one sentence or 10 paragraphs. We don't reuse the same word. You have done that thrice, I do believe.
Yeah.
Not good. Touching celebration of black joy and sisterhood. That cements the duo of Rousers and Smith as one of comics' most powerful creative teams. Is any of that true? And I'm really concerned that these
No.
sisters are actually part of the rainbow community together. Aren't you? By
Mm,
looking at this cover, don't you feel? Did you feel these were sisters, or were these lesbians about to get it on? Jamil.
I couldn't tell. It's the same generic art. You just it like I get it's supposed to be a slice of life book, but again, why are all of these books like these generic Tumblr copy and paste where like
Hmm.
a visual medium is supposed to catch your eye? Now, maybe to the audience that's supposed to be intended for, maybe it catches their eye. It damn
Well,
sure don't do shit for me.
well, it lightens the curving a little bit for them, I think. But whatever.
And it's
So
too much of the same fucking color too. It's like
it
purple on
is.
top of light purple
It is.
on top of
Yeah.
lighter purple.
Once again,
Like
when you said it yourself, Grimlock, the YA stuff is always crap, and the Rainbow People stuff is also always crap. And it's like, okay, don't they deserve good stuff? Clearly not.
apparently not.
Yeah. Anyway, that was interesting day. We not as controversial, but we had some interesting talks. We talked about some interesting things. See, you're not supposed to put those two words together. I said it once already.
Yep.
Demonstrations.
Yep.
But nevertheless, you know,
It's bad form when you're writing, especially if you're doing like a blurb. You can do it if it's like something that has to do specifically with
textbook.
the thing you're talking about, right? So, like, an example would be, say, Spider-Man has a specific catchphrase or something, or a word that is used a lot in this run. Okay, then you can do it. But it's a specific thing. It's more like it's like a quote or
Well, sure.
something like that.
Dreyer's Ice Cream has their ice cream factory in New Hampshire.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when it's just a simple adverb or adjective, it always looks cheap.
They
Looks
just don't know what they're
sloppy.
doing. They're not good writing.
Yeah.
It's a telltale. It's like we unfortunately you guys told me he had died, and it's not a good thing for the universe that Kevin Samuels is dead. However, one of
True.
the things that always made me laugh with him, because he had street wisdom, and I think he also had applied, academic wisdom as well. He had both. But one of the things that always made me laugh with him when he was talking to a young single girl, she didn't even have to tell him because so many times in the background that frickin' smoke detector would just go off.
Yeah. Single woman tell.
Single woman tell, and they have their tells, whatever group they're in for sure. I'm sure we do too. But that always made me laugh because yeah, you're single. How do you know, Kevin? Do you hear it? Because they don't hear it,
That-
right? They don't even because they just
yeah.
zone it out, and that's something that for any dude, even a freaking jobless bum would drive him absolutely freaking mad. He'd have to get up and fix it.
Oh,
Especially
yeah.
me, because I can't stand those fucking beeping noises.
Well, it's changing
That
it in
shit,
battery. That's the
fucking
point.
microwaves.
But a woman will sit there and
Madness.
just let that go, man.
Yeah, it's maddening.
It is.
That is interesting though. It's a very simple tell that doesn't take much, but is probably accurate more often than not.
It
And
seems so.
it's because it's a simple maintenance thing, right? That women just they're not wired for
No,
typically.
and even the super responsible ones, like say my wife, she's an incredibly responsible person. It just doesn't fit into her wiring, those
Yeah.
kind of things. And for us, we can't not hear it, right?
That's right.
It's just, and it's a good example of how we are different.
Yep.
And,
Well, it's like my furnace, right? Remember I said It was midnight. I was talking to Grimlock. I'm like, my furnace isn't working. I'm not going to tear that son of a bitch apart at midnight. 5 minutes later, I was tearing it apart
Of course
at
you
midnight.
were. Of course, and we both knew you were. Of course. Because you can't not do it. I get it. But anyway, I do need to get to work. I actually have work today, so I have to get to it. But that was fun talk. I enjoyed it. Come in here tomorrow, guys, and we will continue with Imperius and our storytelling with the Cypher system. So if you guys are into that, come on back. But we appreciate you for sure. And thank you very much. So Grimlock, any closing words?
I don't know. It's looks like summer's coming early. It's gonna be hot.
It is. Yeah.
Get your water.
Absolutely. I have already using the air conditioning. All right. Well, Thunder Arrow, take us out of here, man.
I like this one. It's very simple. It's short. It's to the point, Chester.
Mhm.
Short and to the point. The master is not the one who completes his training. The master is the one who never stops.
That's true. Mastery is just the beginning of
Yep.
learning, actually. So namaste. Later, guys.